Hit him with a grin, just didn't shake his hand.
Forgive me. I just want to say that I'm still resting in that COVID fog, if they say.
I mean, listen, I'm probably going to leave a lot of that beginning out.
Oh, well, why? That was pretty good. I mean, why? Because you fucked up.
Because I control the editing.
I have the microphone and you don't.
And I'm gonna have the I don't know, whatever the setup is there is necessary.
Word.
Plus, also, I wasn't like, I didn't know we were gonna just jump into things the way we did, but
I mean,
we're here now.
You just kind of I almost felt like you made me. You forced me.
I guess.
Look at him.
Yeah, good. He needs to relax. He's not in the frame of the camera though. Probably.
That's fine. Oh, I see you got a little white man can't jump blue. What's it called over there?
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
Yeah. Oh, that was to remind me. Because like, I was looking through a bunch of old DVDs and stuff. I was trying to find. I have them all stored in a box, and I thought maybe as a last ditch effort, maybe the passport that I can't find is in that box, right? So I was looking through because it was just a big ass box. I had a shit ton of DVDs, one of them enormous totes, But I saw this in there, and I was like, oh, it's not even an open Blu-ray. Bought this,
It's my favorite movie.
Yeah. There was an award show, and I don't remember what award show now, but Rosie Perez was
Rosie Perez.
She was gonna be the what do you call it, the presenter,
the MC.
Right? Yeah, at the time. But Wesley and
Woody.
Sorry, they were there with her,
And
right?
I have COVID fog.
Well, I'll tell you. So they were there with her, and she had like a really long train for her dress, right? And so she was like, just hold it for me, like hold it, stay behind me just a little bit, make sure I don't step on it, and let's get up there. And I guess they were still like, they were supposed to let it go when they got to the mic, and then apparently they were still holding it and just like laughing their ass off because they were just both fucking high as shit.
That's funny.
I was like, that's a pretty good
really
story.
funny, actually.
It might have been the Academy Awards. I only say this because there was some other thing they were asking her. She was like, yeah, it's been 30 years since I've been back to this award show. She's like, they haven't invited me back for 30 years. She's like, it's kind of messed up. Like, I'm a member, and like all my peers are up there who like friends of mine and shit. They're up there, and I'm rooting for them, of course, but like it's just kind of fucked up that
why am I
haven't
not
been
there?
invited back. Yeah, so
I get it. I mean, it's Rosie Perez.
yeah. You got D's, motherfucker, D's.
Rosie Perez. Well, it's funny. I just realized as I was saying that for some reason the whole time we were talking Rosie Perez, I had Rosie O'Donnell in my head. And yeah,
Well,
that.
So I don't feel too bad about missing Woody now.
No, but I didn't even have to disclose that. But
yeah, no, you didn't. But thank you for doing that.
Is,
that's
cool,
man. Real co-pilot shit.
I guess before we go in, we should in on our podcast, we should explain why we weren't here. But
that's true. We missed the whole week.
Technically, I wasn't here. But
yeah, I mean, I guess I could have gave you a solo show, but again, I'm looking for big money for those. So
good luck, sir. You ain't getting big money for the actual group being here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we discussed we went to that Sakura karaoke bar.
Yeah, Chinatown with the knot arches.
And I'm not quite certain that's where I contracted this here thing.
Contracting is just always, I always feel like it's related to like STDs more than anything else. So I don't like to use the word contracting.
Yeah, maybe. Well, either way, I got it.
Yeah. I think it's correct still. I don't like it.
I went 2.5 years without actually getting it.
As far as you know.
There's
multiple strains now, man. It could have not hit you.
Okay, well, knowingly. So we did our podcast. A couple days went by. Tuesday night into Wednesday, I started feeling a little achy. Wednesday morning, went to work. Was like, why does my body hurt so much? And it ended up being the good old COVIDs, the good old vids, as I like to describe it.
Remember back in the day when you felt like that, and you were like, "Oh, it's probably just the flu," and then you were like, "Oh, well, that sucks, but at least I'm gonna stay home from school for like a week."
Yeah.
Like, there's no positives to this.
No,
anymore.
I mean, I did stay home. I was home all. I like literally. I left work.
But as a kid, that's better. As an adult, you're like, fuck, I got like things to do.
I have shit to do, man. I've been having like this whole feeling of
like work aside, I still have like
Yeah.
adult things in my house that I have to take care
I've
of.
been having mad feelings of just like things that need to get done or feeling like I didn't do things.
Yeah.
I literally left work that Wednesday and didn't go back until literally last Friday, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
It had me, man. Like, and it wasn't like the worst that I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm sure people have had it worse than I did. The biggest thing is like the lack of energy.
Yeah.
It really gets you, man. You don't want to do shit. Like, even if you want to, you just can't. Like, I was just like, all right. I washed the dishes, broke a sweat, and then like got tired. I was like, oh fuck. You know, like right now I still have this like that COVID fog, little congestion still, but it's been now something like 12 days or 11 days or 13 days, something like that.
Okay.
In that range of things since I initially felt the symptoms.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, it's funny when you talk about like, remember when you were sick as a kid, you stay home, you just watch all sorts of random daytime television and court shows and The Price is Right, some soap operas.
Well, that was
if
back
you're there
in
with
the day.
Mom.
Like you're talking also probably to part of a generation now who has no idea what the fuck we're talking about because they can just watch whatever they want to, whenever they want to, from wherever they want to. You know.
Well, yeah, but that's what I was
So
going to
for
get
us,
to.
we sit
right?
down on a couch with a fucking blanket and like some soup, and
That's what I was just doing right now. I mean, that's literally so full disclosure, Vivi got it. Like she started feeling her symptoms Sunday, right? So she's now like 8 days in, right? So she contracted it obviously from me, had to.
yeah.
So we were in different rooms of the house. She was in the living room. I was in the back room. I literally watched TV.
Make sure you enunciate because it sounded like you said I was in the bathroom. You know.
Oh, back room.
The back room. The back.
I sat in the bathroom
gave it
for
to the
12
guy.
days. Nah, and I just watched TV for like days and hours. So I think it's normal for people when they get sick, right, to sit down and, like you said, like I was saying, watch TV. But it's funny because I think you end up watching like one or two specific things, as many of them as possible if you can.
That's true because there's marathons on throughout the day.
Well, only if you have actual TV.
Yes.
So I have only internet, and so that with that I use the streaming services,
all you need
all
these
of the
days.
streaming services you can mention, and then YouTube. So YouTube is where I spend most of my time. That's like my sweet spot. Like because there's a lot of channels that. Okay, so I'm getting into it, and I think this is going to be the topic I'd like to talk about today because I've watched so much of it.
It's a Sam episode.
It's only so much. I've watched so much of this, right?
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time, and for I don't know if any of the viewers have watched. We don't have that many, right? So I can't say statistically everybody would know what the show is, but if you've heard about it, all right. If you know about Man vs. Wild, which is Bear Grylls, right? The guy who runs around drinking his pee, you know,
Yeah.
and
He's an extreme
survivalist,
guy.
but not
Yeah.
really surviving because it came out.
He
that,
just shows you like what's the worst extent you're gonna have to go to if you want to survive this
but
situation.
but even then,
And he
So
shows you
apparently-
recklessly because he'll take he'll cut corners like, oh, I'm gonna jump across this ice, but you
yeah,
shouldn't do that.
He's not the guy that you want to model your survival tactics after.
No,
right?
he's entertainment.
So Bear Grylls is funny because you know he's got the English accent, and that's automatically
Is
the
it English?
funniest. Yeah, mate.
Isn't that Australian?
I don't know, bloke.
I think you're literally just mixing them.
Hey man, COVID fog. So,
Well, hang on, we're 10 minutes in. Maybe we should just say who we are first, and then we can get back into it. You know. Welcome everybody to the Kiona and Kasson podcast. I'm your host Adam here with my brother Osama. We have a notable missing party, but they on the same line of COVID. There's other issues.
yeah, there's a lot of scares going on.
Yeah.
So, you know, Dave's wife was possibly exposed. She isn't feeling up to par.
Yeah.
But it's not guaranteed she has it yet. But her boss apparently ended up with COVID. So
we hope, of course, that they are okay and feel better and make speedy recovery so we can get Dave back over here.
Right.
This is episode what? 135?
No.
134?
No,
Where we at, man?
I don't know.
Damn.
I think it's 133 to be honest with you.
It is 133, man. I'm terrible. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, man,
welcome to episode 133 of the Kiona and Kasson podcast.
And welcome to the new subs, man. Actually the other night we had a 2-night subscribe.
I don't know what happened. I told Sarah, I was like, yo, we went from 270 to 267 to 272.
Yeah, that's cool with me.
Yeah.
But welcome to all of you.
Yeah,
we
welcome.
appreciate you stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy the show. If you're not aware about what the show is, it's a show about nothing. It's the Seinfeld of podcasts.
You know what? You may be onto something there. That's for putting a
Golf clap.
I'm going to change the entire description on YouTube. It is the Seinfeld of podcast. And I'm just leave it at that.
I fuck with it.
You think they might hit us with like some cease and desist shit?
Who? He could call his
Larry
He
David?
could call Seinfeld the podcast.
I think Larry David is
a
probably
little bit
petty enough.
He's super fucking petty, man. But yeah, welcome to everybody. Appreciate y'all stopping by.
Yes.
We
If
do
you
try to
are,
shoot this weekly. So if you didn't see it last week, it's because of the COVID issues.
Maybe we should give it 2 weeks to breathe between every episode, you know?
But then
That's why we got hit with
If that was the case, we'd have like 72 episodes.
Yeah, that's
In
true.
4 years, that's not even good.
when all you do is talk about nothing, you need like some extra time to talk.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, because nothing can turn into a lot more nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
So speaking of nothing,
right.
after telling you, appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, and hey, if you are watching right now and have not subscribed, please do so. You know.
Yeah.
Make sure you say that early.
So we will get in. We're gonna get into the Survivorman, but after that, I do want to talk about like just COVID in general, how it feels, and all of that. For those who haven't experienced it yet, hopefully you do not. We don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
It wasn't as terrible as I feel like a lot of people have gotten, so I'm grateful for that.
Yes.
But we'll get into that. Survivorman,
Right.
which I hadn't introduced. I had talked about Man vs. Wild.
True.
So Survivorman is the first real survivalist show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there was what was the name? Survivor was the show, the reality TV show, but not about. But it wasn't. It's made.
not the same thing.
It's made up, right? Like a lot of those things are conjured up.
I
Fucking
would compare
scenarios.
The Amazing Race closer to it than I would compare Survivor. Like
Amazing Race is at least a little bit more.
you have to be resourceful.
Little,
you know?
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's a little bit more raw.
Yeah.
But Survivorman is a dude from Ontario, Canada. It's about this guy who he's a pretty well educated survivalist, and he wanted to do.
you know
a
what
show.
his background is?
I think it's just he's a creator, man.
So you just like got really good at this shit.
I didn't realize how much like he said that part of I'm a creator. It's something I've always done,
Yeah.
and like when he said that, it made me think of him differently, right? Because initially we've watched the show and we know the premise of the show is that he goes out with multiple cameras, 3-4 cameras, by himself. His crew leaves him in a place.
Created by, produced by, directed by.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, this is the one man show. There's
Yeah.
a few other people, I guess, that have been involved in it, but
sure.
for the most part, it's his baby. They drop him off in a place. I mean, the most harshest extreme conditions you could think of. I mean, anywhere in the world, deserts, Arctic.
Yeah, like they're selected because they're like, oh, if you went to go and explore this place and got lost, how would you find your way out and back into a place where you're visible to possible rescuers and
Yeah.
being able just to survive long enough to get to that,
And that's what it is. His would be 7, but his is 7 days. It would be a 7-day process, right? And the goal would be, all right, we figure that we drop him here. He could possibly make it to one of a few towns within 4 to 5 days of where he's at.
Yeah.
Now, knowing that doesn't really help his immediate situation and then anything between because
Yeah.
he has to endure all the cold, the heat, the inclement weather,
Whatever
the
terrain he's
no
on.
eating, no drinking water. Like he goes 3, 4, 5 days sometimes without really a meal.
Yeah.
And it's a very cool show. It's interesting because nothing is doctored to make you think it was more serious than it was.
Yeah.
And me and you have watched plenty of those episodes together. But I started watching it on YouTube because that's what I was getting at. Most of the shows that you used to watch on cable television with all those networks, a lot of people have put together their own YouTubes, right?
For sure.
WWE.
Why not?
You can go on WWE's page on YouTube and actually watch, which I did some nights, a whole bunch of old matches.
Yeah.
Right. It's funny though because on YouTube it skips for like a microsecond when they're gonna get smacked with a chair in the face, or like when I'm telling you, it's funny. I was watching, I was like, why did it skip? And then it kept skipping every time. Like Triple H was beating the shit out of Undertaker and just was hitting the shit out of him with a chair. But every time he was about to hit him in the face, it skipped, so it wouldn't show that because for what I guess.
Damn, that's what happened to Will Smith and Chris Rock. Like, it took effects that far.
No, I guess so.
Like, yo, you cannot show somebody smacking somebody in the face.
It's probably demonetization, right? Like, there's a way for you not to get your money. So I'm watching Survivorman, right? And then the last few days, I found Survivorman director's commentary, and he's the director, and that's where that gets into the place of, it's kind of in the realm of where we're at, right? Like especially Adam. But like
so everything just taken care of in-house.
In-house. And the way he describes some of the things is like really fucking eye-opening. Behind the scenes and things of that nature and where his mind's at. Yeah. Because he is it's his IP. So he can, for the most part, he said he would lose some arguments with the network once in a while. But as soon as he figured out what his actual power was in this situation, because it is his baby. Yeah. And he owns it.
So they give him some creative control.
That's the dope shit too. Like again, we preach ownership nowadays, and it was exactly that with him. Yeah. But the problem was that Discovery actually fucked them around, and they started to create offshoots. Right? Y'all have heard of Naked and Afraid. We done talked about them naked fat, people, fat people, and small people, and big people that like shouldn't be naked in these fucking places, right?
And just being in general, like you should be able to have. Most of the time, you're not going to be completely butt ass naked out there.
And he pokes fun. He's like, don't even get me started on the Naked and Afraid. He's like, wait, maybe you should. He's like, actually, I'll need a couple of drinks before I start talking about that. And it's funny because it's just offshoots of what his show was. Yeah. Nothing existed on that channel about survival until he dropped his show, and it became a big thing. People started loving it because it's so fucking authentic. Yeah, it really is.
There's a big difference. I mean, you're talking about going out there Naked and Afraid. You have a whole production team. There's camera people out there.
I don't have to be naked to be afraid. You could have just called it Afraid and then kept my fucking draws on.
Yeah, I mean, like even like whatever their other ones where they're clothed, like those. It doesn't matter because you still have you have a team with you. And the difference with Survivorman and Les Stroud is he was out there literally by himself, and he did like. He had like dramatic cutaways where he'll plant the camera and he'll walk away for the scene.
Right, but that's come back to tell the story, right?
Yeah.
There's nobody recording that. Nobody's going back to get that camera for him. Yeah, it's a matter of his whole production, one-man army in the wild while trying to survive. Yeah, that's the crazy.
That's just all the extra shit that he's carrying with him as he's trying to survive too. You got to think that like it's not just the fact that he's recording it himself. He has to carry everything.
There's an episode he's in the Georgia swamps, right? And it's funny. He was talking about how he's maybe one of the first, if not the first, to do those selfie cams, right? To turn the camera around on your face and actually do it. So he started going into. He was talking like he did like a Blair Witch, like a few seconds of a parody. I'm so scared, right? And he was talking about he started like riding Bear Grylls. He's like, this guy's talking about being alone while somebody's recording him. he's like the loneliness is really what hurts. And then he didn't do the voice. I do the voice because I think it's hilarious. If you don't like it, fuck you. So, but it's really funny.
COVID fog, ladies and gentlemen.
There's also a funny thing like he's like, oh, there it goes, and he paused it, and it's like he's got a stick, and it's like. He's like, oh, the first selfie stick. And it's just funny to watch. Yeah. But it's a really interesting show, and it got me to thinking, like, you've seen them create fire, right? You've seen them you've seen them do the fire.
Put your lighters up.
Well, not more fire. I'm talking about more fire, because I'm a caveman.
Yes. I've seen the way that there's multiple ways.
There's multiple methods. Yes. There's the friction way, right?
Yeah. That's the shake weight way.
Shake weight. And then there's the bow where you basically are trying to get
They're all friction.
It's all friction based, but there's like different methods, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then there's like obviously
You smack some
could
rocks
bring-
together, create sparks over some dry brush.
He's done that. He started a fire with the shotgun or a rifle. He just removed some of the gunpowder in it. He's a fucking phenomenally resourceful man. I gotta say it. Like something about like Les that seems like he'd be a cool dude to hang out with.
And I swear, like I think when you watch shows like that, like basically
Too much
religiously,
confidence in
right?
yourself. After
No.
that. I'm like, oh, I can do that.
There's that.
I can go into the wild and create a fire.
There's that, but I bet you, if you were thrown in that situation, and let's say your fight or flight kicks in, and you're like, all right, I got a little fight in me. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens the first night. Like if I can't do it, then I'm gonna run. But you probably would be surprised what you picked up. You know, like once you had to know it.
I think you'd be surprised at what you thought you picked up, but didn't have any idea what to do.
You're
like, where's this wood?
You might
that
be
he
right.
just picked up in any random island in the world. I can't find a tree, and this motherfucker like it's got rubbing two sticks together for fire.
I probably would find myself dead faster than I thought.
You probably would be a little bit deader faster.
Nah, I don't know, man. We've also done a fair share of like camping. You just got. I think in order to be successful,
Yeah, dude, but
you
that's
have
not the same thing.
Nah, I hear you, but.
Are you comparing us going camping
No,
to
no. Well,
survival mode?
to some degree, some of it, like not all of it is a
No,
life or,
not even a little bit.
not all of it is life or death.
And the way that we sat around a fire in the wild,
Not all of the
we're
surviving
no more
is
a
life or
team
death.
than the people who who are staying in the hotel
listen,
are a team.
You're not always in face to face with a bear. You said it. He records for 7 days. We don't have what's 7 times 24. We don't have that many hours of material every episode.
We don't even have
cuts down
1 minute of
No,
fear
no,
in
no.
the wild. Like there's
I'm
not
just
even
saying-
there wasn't even 10 seconds in any of that camping where we were like, oh my God.
Maybe there was.
Maybe because we couldn't get the
Maybe you
the
suppressed
tent,
it.
The tent wasn't put together properly. I don't know.
Maybe you suppressed
No,
it. You know?
I take that back. There is one time in my life where
See what I'm saying?
No,
Suppressed.
you weren't there. We went camping in Indiana with the uncles. It was Johnny, Jonathan. Jonathan didn't have kids yet, or maybe he had a kid yet. Wait, he definitely.
Yeah,
had a
I
kid
mean,
yet.
what are you talking
Jonathan had a
about?
kid when he was like a kid. Anyway, no offense, John. Anyway, so we went camping. It was Aunt Janice, Edwin, Uncle Johnny, his fam, right? Jonathan.
Where the fuck was I? It sounds like everybody was there.
No, it wasn't. Mom, I just went with them. I was older than you a little bit. Like at this point, I was probably 13, so you were like 9. So nobody wants you around. They barely wanted me around. So this is the only night I remember in camping actually kind of being a little bit scared and annoyed at camping, because camping is pretty fun. You ain't got to worry about showering.
There's levels to camping as
You
well.
just everybody just be in their own world.
That's nasty too. That shouldn't be a highlight of what you're talking about.
Well, when you're 13, 12 years old, you're like, oh, I don't got to do anything. I just eat and just chill in his tent.
Well, that's an important fact to mention.
I
Because
said I
you
was
can
young,
camp
motherfucker.
At any age in life.
Anyway, listen. So we go there. We're in Indiana Beach, I believe, or near there. Because remember, there's like multiple camping grounds in Indiana.
There is.
Wouldn't get me to go there nowadays. I'll tell you that much. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
That's not.
Although Papa's talking about Starved Rock trip soon. So.
Starved Rock's not in Indiana.
No, I know, but I'm saying that camping
I'll go
in
there.
general.
So we're camping, right? I think it's I want to say we were only there for one night, right? Not that we had intended to be there one night. I think we were intended to be there Friday, Saturday, and then leave Sunday.
Yeah.
I want to say this is Friday night. We set up all the tents, and we all go to bed, right? It's gonna rain or it's drizzling, but there, out of nowhere, this big storm comes, right?
Okay.
So Uncle Johnny's on his air mattress with his wife in this big ass tent, and on the other side of it, I'm in a sleeping bag on the floor of the tent. Whatever, it is what it is. Until
Water starts to get through.
yeah, because the flaps are open, right? The flaps are open, and I woke up
That
in a
sucks.
puddle of water, right?
sucks.
Like what the? And it's raining like hard, so hard that we're like, like it almost was to the point where we're like, there might be a tornado coming. We're in Indiana, you never know. I remember being fucking pretty scared that night. We ended up like
Acting like a little bitch.
I think everybody just couldn't sleep at some point. We woke up mad early, and I remember we went and got a little country ass breakfast. It was fucking delicious. I still remember it. I think it's the first time I had grits, and I fucking love grits. So we go in, like, I just remember that being maybe the scariest fucking camping trip. I remember it was so bad when we got back from breakfast because they were talking about more rain coming. We literally just like undid everything and didn't like close it up properly. We just kind of like bunched it up and threw it in the trunk.
Shut
We
down
had to
quickly.
get the fuck out of town. And I remember we had Uncle Johnny's tent in our basement for like maybe 2 to 3 years, and then I think we also had a flood in the basement then, and we threw it away.
Yeah, and definitely at that point in time, 2 to 3 years, we probably had 2 or 3 floods.
Oh hell yeah! But that's probably the scariest I've been in a camping situation. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Anyways, I'm really just saying when they're out there doing their shit, there's a reason why there's not 7 full days of material there, because some of it is just walking, strolling through. Like you're not always constantly in some kind of danger.
Us or Bear Grylls? I mean, Les.
All of them.
Well, Les is not all of. I can't help you. And got good consciousness.
Okay,
I can't help you bunch him into that.
Him too.
No,
because listen, I get it. Like is a difference. Obviously, there's a fucking difference. I'm not, but I'm just saying when they're out there. Not constantly is there like a fucking wild animal close by that they're trying to jump over like a big gap in the fucking earth.
I think it's very seldom that there's an animal that's coming to attack you.
It's an example of things.
Although he
did
get chased out of, he was in the Amazon rainforest.
That's not a place I'm ever trying to be stuck.
He said like when Discovery finally like picked up the show, he said it got real. He's like, oh shit, now I gotta. So he's like, I had a bucket list of places I wanted to go. He's like, fucking Amazon.
Amazon is scary as fuck.
The Arctic, fucking like deserts and fucking like Africa and all these things. And he was saying they were in the Amazon. He was at one point, like towards the end of the episode, he was trying to make his way out the jungle, and a fucking cougar stalked him the whole way out to this village. He got in the village, and then they secured like the gates, but it's obviously primitive because it's like a primitive tribe. The fucking cougar said he was just stalking outside, like you can hear.
Jeez,
dude, fucking insane. That I don't know. I might just fucking say, you know what, dude, I'm gonna try to fight you. Because 1-on-1, maybe, right?
Like, let me get some weapons and get
if it's just one small one, maybe, right? But they said it was like 250 pounds. It's not small.
Like, yo, at least like I know y'all got some kind of shit that I can use to fight this thing. Like, equip me, give me a shield.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, well, in the Arctic, they made him take a rifle, and that's why he was able to start a fire because of the polar bears.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like
something out there trying to kill you.
Dude, that's the fucking crazy. That's the thing about nature. That's why it seems so fucking nuts to go out there and put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
But again, I appreciate his willingness to sacrifice his life to teach me how to do things I'm not going to remember how to do anyway.
And I probably will hopefully not have to use. The average person won't.
What do you think you could start a fire in okay. Now, let's lay the situation out.
If I'm in the Arctic, no.
No. Well, he actually was able to.
Maybe if I found like an igloo that somebody abandoned and I can get in there without wind bothering it.
Nobody's abandoning an igloo. I think a good igloo is a place you stay.
Probably. Yeah. But I don't. Can you light a fire in an igloo?
You don't want to, probably.
Because can you put like a chimney?
Now what we building houses? What the fuck?
I don't know. I'm just saying, man, some survivalist shit.
So do you think in a situation, right?
If you have the fire outside of the igloo, it's just gonna go out because the wind's gonna hit it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the wind, that's not true.
It could be.
See,
it depends what the fire is created with.
I don't think you're not less. You're not less.
No, I'm not.
You're less. Less than you're less than less. All right, so let's
put you butt kiss over here always riding.
Let's put you in a moderate situation, right? Let's put you in the forest, right?
Right.
There's some
See, in the
food
forest
around.
where trees
There's
and
some
whatnot.
food around, right?
Right.
But you need warmth. You have.
I'm cold.
You only have the ability to rub the two sticks together to get that fire going, right?
Sure.
With the bow, you know, because they attach to what the.
Yeah, but you need like the twine or some shit, right?
Well, you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Like you might want. I think in those situations, what he brings is like a little bit of rope, you know. Or no, I take that back. He uses shoelaces before.
Huh.
So you wouldn't even thought that. You just be walking around with no shoe with shoes on, perfectly fine.
Well, I've been
no
like, man,
fire.
I would have sat there. I probably would think about it and be like, man, do I want to keep my shoes so that I can tie them and like have like something protecting my feet?
I thought about that. I was like, well, what about walking? right? Like, what are you gonna do?
Like these shoes right now that I have on, they're not tied, and already when I take a step, my heel falls out of them.
Yeah, and that's a good way to get a blister.
Yeah, especially you out there in the woods, you don't need to have a
want no
blister
parts
all
of
day.
that.
Hell no.
Listen, just watch Survivorman. It's a fucking good show. I think it's like so it makes me more confident, falsely, definitely, more falsely confident than I need to be.
I would feel confident for like a day, depending on where I was at. And then I'd be like,
And
all right,
I
now
feel
I'm having a hard time finding my way out of here. And it's getting a little scary, you know?
I'd feel confident during the day, the first day. And then once I started getting hungry, start eating my fucking fingers. Like, he said people get so fucking like desperate that like if they had rawhide on their boots or anything organic, like at some point they start just eating that because they just be hungry.
So like they lost all concept of time, and they're like, I'm starving. I haven't had a meal in 47
It's been 2.5
minutes.
hours. No, I think it's a dude. You got to be fucking.
What's that that one show that they do now where they have like 5 or 6 people, like a competition, alone?
Everything. Oh yeah. Well, he makes fun of that too. He said like he doesn't respect any of these shows. He's like if there's a camera crew there.
But I mean, listen, I like some of those shows like that. Alone's kind of cool. I think his problem is just that he would like the respect of them being like, all right, you are
100%.
the originator and none greater.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I
I
mean-
think that's the truth. I mean, like I said, it's his IP and it's something he's created. So he feels like he did his best to not make a mockery out of our intelligence, right? Because I think he found a niche in there because it's 100% facts and it's still entertaining for some reason, you know?
Well, because
Well, you see Bear running around. He calls Bear like a fucking clown jumping from rock to rock. It's pretty hilarious.
if you can add some kind of suspense,
I'm not a clown.
If you can add some kind of suspense
Is that
to like
David
the
Bowie?
ads and shit, you know, like make it seem like, oh, I don't know if he's gonna make it out of this. That's how you like. That's how it's gotta be, you know. You know that there's gonna be another episode because I used to be a dumbass kid thinking that type of shit. Like, oh man, like what's gonna happen, right? And I'm like,
It's a TV show.
it's on TV now. Post
He
the
did it already.
show.
He's back. He's good.
They wouldn't put this out if he died.
It's funny to see. Like he'll be like, "Oh, I had hair a little bit," and like, cause you know, like he had. Whenever he recorded, he didn't. He was past the point of hair. Right? It was just like a little bit of hair. So he'll go in there and be like, "Oh, I got hair a little bit." He was like, "I look out of shape there." Like I'm in better shape now. It's pretty funny to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
It's definitely entertainment. I mean,
Probably enough on Les Shroud. But
yeah, I think we've probably talked enough about it.
all right. You got any questions about COVID?
Well, what did you feel? What was your first symptom? I think that's the best question.
Aches. The aches.
Aches.
The aches.
Vague. Aches where? Everywhere?
Yeah. So I think I've spoken about this before on a podcast about like when I start to feel like truly getting sick, like flu-like ish symptoms, my ankles, like for some reason, are where I start to get sore first, and it's because I attribute it to me.
Basketball.
Well, no,
Hurt my ankles.
no, I don't think it's that.
It could be.
It's not. It's not. No, it's not. No, my issue is I think what happens is when I'm like starting to feel a little bit sick, I'm like doing a lot of stretching to try to relieve some of the tension in my body. And
Okay.
when I do that, like this would be my ankles. Like I just feel like I do a lot of just, like
It's
stretching.
like you're doing like calisthenics for your hands and shit. Like, what's up?
No, I do a lot of that to try to like just kind of like stretch and try to get some of that pain or whatever that's taking over my body.
Right.
So that's where it started. The next morning when I was at work, man, it was the worst. It was one of those mornings where I had like a lot to do in a small section of the morning. It's like fuck. So like I was in the truck like sitting there just waiting to do the next whatever, and I was it started moving up to my lower calves.
Okay.
Like right in the between like the Achilles and the calf, like that muscle started getting bad. And then just walking and then the hips, and then it slowly progressed. I started to get some of those like feverish feelings, symptoms where I was kind of like my temperature wouldn't stay consistent.
So kind of flu-like.
Very flu-like. I mean, it's essentially, I guess,
It's a respiratory infection of
the
sorts,
flu
so it's-
on some sort of steroids. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't the greatest. And then I got to work and I was like, all right, maybe I can make it to 1:30, right? And then it was like probably 11 when I got in there. It's like, fuck, I don't know if I can. I went and took a shit, sat down and just contemplated, and I was like, I can't do this shit. I like 11:30, I was out that motherfucker. One of the supervisors was like, yo, can we grab this for me? I was like, no. I was like, I got to go, my brother. And so I dipped, and literally I was at home from Wednesday, laying in the back room. Like, so we have, I think I've discussed it. We have the living room, obviously. The TV in there is broke now for whatever reason. And in our back room where it's like another TV room, essentially.
Yeah. So it's a living room of sorts.
I've been in back. I haven't even gotten back into bed. Like, it's been 12 days or so since I've slept in my bed, and I'm probably going to go another 2 days. Because obviously Vivi's still not. She's good. After 5 days, you're no longer contagious. Mm-hmm. And so the new CDC guidelines are 5 days strict quarantine and then 5 days of mask wearing, right? Mm-hmm. So at this point, I'm about 12 days in, no longer contagious and whatnot. Like I said, I don't know if you can hear it through the audio, but I do have a little bit of congestion.
Yeah. It's expected.
And it's just now trying to make its way out, you know what I mean? It's interesting, man. Before I got it, I wasn't. I guess I would say maybe I had started to become more lax, and this is just a lesson in not.
You're not alone in that.
And I think most people are starting to get to that point, but it's a lesson in take it a little bit seriously. Now, obviously, I guess you're whatever the word is, you're able to get some antibodies afterwards for some time.
Yeah,
I don't have to take a PCR for work for 90 days, which is dope.
Okay.
And the problem is, obviously, me and Vivi got our Mexico trip. We leave on the 29th. I'm like, fuck, man. It doesn't feel like we can be leaving in 12 days because of where we're at. But
yeah, for sure. I don't know, man. I mean, I do my best to make sure that I'm always masked up. I mean, when we went to the karaoke thing, I let the peer pressure get me to take the mask off. We were in an isolated room from like the general public, but like still there was enough people in there. Yeah, and it wasn't a huge room. You know what I mean? So it was like it wasn't really justifiable for me to keep it off. But
and it's weird because you didn't get it, Sarah didn't get it, and nobody that was there from what I understand it to this point, even had any issues. So I don't know if I got it there, if I ended up getting it, it could be anywhere, man, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, knock on wood, my immune system has always been pretty good. Yeah. I've been able to have minimal illness for the most part. At least my adult life. As a kid may have been different, but that's just how as a kid. Again, you run into people with germs and shit, right? Like that. All that's just expected. You're going to encounter other individuals and their nasty shit, and it's going to build up an immunity, and you're going to get... And that's likely what happened. I mean, public school system, right? Yeah. Motherfuckers put their mouth on the entire water fountain. Like, like why are you doing that? Got a career ahead of you.
Water, but like, it's funny. Like, even I'm still lacking in energy as much as I would like to be. Like right now, I feel still like I'm at 90%. I'd say. Mm-hmm. This light on me makes me warm. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it's just little things that are just your body's got to get back to where it needs to be.
For sure.
If
it's not going to be instant, especially with this, like, no, it affects people completely differently, So
that's what I'm learning, man. A lot of people, some people like obviously lost taste and smell.
Yeah, I
was fortunate enough not to, but it affected me in other ways that obviously were just as uncomfortable and pretty annoying.
Yeah, and it's weird because like, obviously, just because COVID is here doesn't mean that other sickness and shit like that has disappeared.
Yeah,
but like now you can't feel anything without being like, oh shit,
it's COVID, right?
God damn, like now I gotta go and test myself too.
Let me tell you, the fucking reality of seeing a test pop up as positive after every one you've ever taken was a negative test. It's a little nuts, man.
Yeah, it's a little heart sinking moment.
Yeah, it's a little jarring.
Yeah.
So anybody who's going through COVID right now knows people that are.
What does jarring mean?
I can only show you what I think it means by my face. That's jarring.
It's
jarring.
It makes you take a step back.
No, it makes you go get a jar, open it up, close it. That's jarring.
Or Wouldn't it make more sense to fill the jar? Wouldn't that be jarring? I'm gonna jar this shit.
I don't know. I think that's filling.
I think jarring is just filling the jar and mixed like a contraction.
I think jarring is literally anything to do with a jar, or if you're jarred.
Like if you say jawing, that makes sense, right? Because your jaw is going. But like jarring, like they use that in like the boxing meetups a lot. Oh, they're jawing at each other.
I don't know. Like, isn't the movie Jarhead with what's his name, McGuire?
So it has something to do with like army shit.
I don't think so. I think that was just the title. Anyway,
I know nothing
again,
about that.
it's weird though to see that positive. And it's also funny when you start like me and Vivi, it makes you and your partner be very like more graphic in discussing of what you're feeling, right? And I was just like,
Got the bubble guts.
She's like, it's funny when you're. She's like, it's funny as soon as whatever you're like, you start to get phlegm, and I was like, yeah, it's your body. It's just trying to get out any way it can. I was like, I know you've been having to take a shit. Like I was even like now, like my stomach is still like. It's trying to get all of the toxins out of your body. So whether you're pissing, you're shitting, or you're coughing up phlegm, that's what's happening.
I got to put a graphic content warning over this now.
I mean, we talk about all this all the time anyway.
Nah, word up. I mean, that's true.
Word up, young MC.
We do talk about things that God knows how and why most of the time.
I don't even know how we made it to 42 minutes just talking about this.
Well, we didn't just talk about this. We talked about Les Stroud for the first half an hour. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, this is important because we have not firsthand experienced it.
Right.
So
I mean,
we don't have any
out of us.
Right. That's So we don't have like any firsthand accounts to give you until now.
Right. And
so,
I'll say this. Wear your masks in places where you need to be. I mean, listen. It's nice to think that, and it has. I will say this. It's not as crazy a thing as it was when it first started, right? Remember that fucking video of the doctor talking about it? Yeah. He was like on the TV. Remember that shit? Like there's that infamous scene, and but it's still there. It's still out there, and
well, and still evolving. It's not like
still evolving.
It's not on its way out of here,
and
yet,
it will affect you. It will affect you. Not everybody. I'm not a scientist, so don't take that as fact.
And thank you, scientist.
No problem, man. I got some forms I can sign if you need them. But I will say that it's still there, and you may not even get anywhere near what I had, right? Like, it just felt like really bad flu. Yeah. And that's the best way I can put it. I mean, it leaves you, like I said, with something like they call it the COVID fog, which is like just things just seem like on the way here, I was telling them, it felt like I was going 90 and it just felt like still slow motion. Like I felt like I was.
Don't worry about what the speed limit is out here. We good. What? So don't worry about what the speed limit is out here.
Speed limit.
Yeah, but I mean, again, like it's crazy because you're talking about something where it ranges from people who don't experience a single symptom to people who have died from it, right?
Right.
So it's like you don't know what you're gonna get, and that's why it's scary when you see that positive pop up.
That's it. Like, okay, now this is real. What's gonna happen?
Right.
And luckily, I got the headphones off because it makes my fucking head hot.
Hey man, listen. As long as you get comfortable with it, you don't have to have it on.
No. I mean, I'll put it back on. Again. I just want to, because that again, if you're not part of the room, but we have behind us one of those pretty intense stage lights.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably way more intense ones, but this is also in a small room for us, yes. But yeah, so no, I mean, luckily, thankfully you came out of it feeling better, and VV too, and, it hit my parents as well. Like, they were experiencing maybe a couple weeks before
I ain't been over there, and I haven't seen them in over a month. Like, I haven't gone to their house because, they had a staggered effect. So it was like one had it, then another had it, but they were...
Somehow Daniel avoided getting it.
But he got it the first time.
Yeah.
And I think that's why. He got it pretty bad. Yeah. I think he had similar to what I had feelings.
Probably. Yeah. I went there yesterday for a little bit. I was pretty much at the same place as you. Like, been maybe probably a month since I saw them last. So, all right, I'll go over there, hang out. Shout out to Basil. Actually, it was his birthday yesterday.
Yep.
So they went to go and hang out with them later on at night. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll hang out with them, during the day for a little bit. It's Easter today, so happy Easter to those who are celebrating. And that was mom
celebrate that Easter bunny.
Yeah, we used to celebrate. We used to get like Mom's was always big on putting baskets together for us and shit, you know. And I thought it was always a funny kind of
Way
tradition.
to celebrate something.
Yeah,
Like, why are you giving me a fucking basket full of fucking candy?
basket with like fake grass, and then there's jelly beans on the bottom, and then like just a bunch
I
of
always
random
felt
chocolate
bad,
on the top.
like when I didn't get through like the big chocolate bunny, or I'm like, I feel bad. You got this for me, but
I mean,
damn,
that's
there's
a
lot of
big ass
chocolate.
piece of milk chocolate.
Yeah, man, you're trying to get me fat.
Like, yo, you can use this in your baking or something. Like,
Let's melt this down and
Right.
make like chocolate fudge. Or
yeah, you know how they do that with gold? They just get real hot and they melt it into something. Yes.
Yo, that process right there, I didn't know, obviously, until Gold Rush. Like, I didn't realize how fucking crazy it is to.
Yo, man, we should do Gold Rush. Let's go move somewhere where we can just try to get involved in looking for some digging
All right,
for
so
gold.
that's the second stupid thing you said all.
No, that's not stupid at all. Listen,
First, we can survive at least for a couple days without. I think we'd be able to survive.
So you don't think
we
that
might
you'd
beat
be able
the
to
shit out of each
survive?
other though? Like, yo, just start the fire. I told you to start the fucking fire.
so you don't think you're not confident enough to believe that there's at least certain times
How many
places
days you
if you
giving
were stuck.
yourself?
Again, that's why it depends where we're at because
Okay, we're gonna say
I need to count on being able
we're
to
gonna be
find something
we're
to
gonna
eat.
be in North America. We'll be in North America.
Right.
So he says that his most ideal place to survive is generally a tropical island because you got coconuts, right? Fresh coconuts. You have
Perhaps bananas?
The ability to probably not. I haven't seen him ever come across bananas, not once. It's funny because you would think they would, but he never came across bananas.
Fucked up.
But the problem is, so some of these obviously coconut trees and those trees that grow banana, those things grow fucking high, and it's hard apparently to climb up a palm tree.
I would imagine.
He says that the bark seems smooth, but it would hurt. Anyway, so let's say all right. Let's say just for shits and giggles,
Right.
we get stranded on
Grins and poops.
on a desert tropical island. What'd you call it?
It's like grins and poops.
Grins, just for grins and poops. That's it from now on. It's a show about nothing. We talk about grins and poops.
Oh man, I gotta put this down. Hold on. Remember your question.
So we're on a desert tropical island. What do you think our chances of survival are if we are left there for at least we're gonna say 5 days. Do you think we'd survive?
If another man survived, I shall as well. In that situation,
and therein lies the issue, sir. I don't think that that's a true statement.
probably not. But I'm saying in that situation, in that particular landscape, I give myself the best chance. Probably
Where are you gonna go take a shit? Firstly, where do you shit?
in the woods, right behind us.
There's a Adam shit in the woods. You bet your ass it does.
Grizzly Adams.
So your
bear,
bathroom's in the woods.
Shit. Yes.
Mine's gonna be in the water.
I guess it makes sense because then you can.
I'm taking a shit in the water.
I would also feel gross about it because, like,
Why?
obviously,
You
obviously,
just see your shit floating for 3 to 4 days. Like, oh my shit.
obviously, it's not like a small body of water, right? You're gonna be probably connected off of an ocean somewhere. But we talking about like that's probably where the source of food is gonna have to come from. I'm gonna have to fish. To me, just putting the association,
You caught the fish that ate your shit.
putting the association together just is not cool with me. You
So
know?
I listened to a podcast. I think I mentioned it here before. Foamy and Buckets.
Yeah.
Right. They're the two brothers that they do the sneaker reviews, but
Right.
they have a podcast separate to that. So Buckets, the younger brother,
Yeah.
you,
Uh-huh.
they reminded me of us pretty accurately. He's been on a boat before in the ocean doing like diving or whatever it is, but they've been miles out, no land, nowhere near in sight, and he had to take shit. Right, I think he got some sort of seasickness, but he had to poop.
Yeah.
They told him he's got to get in the water, so he gets in the water and he shit, and he got back in.
That's a different situation.
No. Let me give you a second. Just hold on. Firstly, I heard that's called shark sugar. Rob Deerdeck told me that.
So you don't want to take a shit in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean where.
Well, we're not in the middle of the ocean. We're at the coast. I could literally
No.
I
but
could make a sand
in
toilet.
his particular scenario, you don't want to necessarily do that because now you're attracting sharks.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to dig a nice little hole
in the
right
sand.
at the shore. And I'm just going to put my butt in it. And I'm just going to take a nice long shit. I'm going to cover it up with some sand. I'm going to walk away like it wasn't me.
That's how I think.
And imagine no cleanup.
And clean your ass.
It's just like if like you gotta like
Wash your
imagine
nasty
it.
ass.
I'd imagine it in the boat. You gotta be like hanging onto the boat, but you got to bring your knees up, right? Because it's like the squatty potty, right?
Well,
But
you know how like on a yacht type of boat where it
they
has
have
like a
toilets
rail
on a yacht. First,
Well, I mean on a type of like the rail system, right? Like the railing at the
you hang
bottom.
on to that.
So you can put your legs through the bottom part. You know what I mean? And just hold on to.
So you're just sitting on, but now there's just shit streaking across the side. No, we're talking about in the most
This is just
optimal way.
honestly not
This is an
what the
optimal way.
point of this was.
Yeah, but this is the optimal way to go about it. All right. So that being said, right? 5 days. We have. We end up finding, because that's his beef also. Like any beach in the world, you're gonna find garbage.
Yeah.
Because human beings suck dick.
They really do.
We're the
Not, I
worst.
mean, not literally. At least not all of us. Not that there's anything wrong with
There's
that.
anything wrong with that. But if you do, in a figurative sense, fuck you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so he said, like, that's his thing. He always finds garbage, right? Like, but so let's say we find a hook, right? Somehow a hook and a line.
Hook, line, and a sinker.
Right. So somebody's obviously lost their line
can
somewhere and
cast out and
and it's
get
come
them-
out this way.
Word.
We find that, and
Now we can fish.
well, not really. I mean,
Fish. We can fly fish and get in the water and just toss that line out there and see what
I
happens.
think you're misunderestimating what that entails.
I don't think so.
All right, so
I
let's
think you have
just-
a leg up on people who don't have one of those.
You have a leg up.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do?
Like,
You're
it's just like
gonna like carve a little spear made out of like a wood stick and
who do you think we are? We're not the Aztecs. We're not fucking sitting here.
Hey man, listen. There's a reason why they survived that way though. The
They
fuck?
didn't.
You gotta
though.
learn from the acts
They
that came
didn't
before
survive.
you.
They're gone.
Hey, not because of that. That's rude, man. Not because of
They
that.
couldn't fish. You teach a
Not
man
because of their inability to fish.
Listen, you feed a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he still might not be able to fish because it's hard to fish. That's what I know.
I think it depends where you're at. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Well, I'ma be
heavier
where I'm at.
areas, and if we're in a tropical area, they gonna be tropical fish.
All right,
You just gotta know what you can
How
eat.
are we splitting up the responsibilities here? What are you doing, and what do you think I need to be doing?
I think the first thing we both need to be doing is going to find things that we can burn to create a fire. So
First,
we need to
yeah,
both
you're
go
right.
and do that.
So okay, so here's what I would say. One, we'd split that up. You or I, however you'd like to divvy this up, right? Is gonna go get the firewood.
Whatever the
The
mathematics
other
is.
one is gonna go look for things that possibly can be helped to create
Build
a
a
shelter.
shelter. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
If it's one thing Lessa's taught me is that you need those,
Yep. Fire and shelter.
right? Because we ain't going.
But fire is A1 because
We-
man, I'm trying to. You have to cook. and if you're
What
talking about,
if we don't have anything to cook?
then we need fire for other things.
It's a tropical island. It's hot as fuck.
So
You don't need a fire technically.
hey man, listen. If there's
fire is
haven't
important.
if you haven't found a fresh water source yet, then you're gonna have to boil the water.
You can't
know what I
boil
mean?
salt water and drink it.
In very small amounts. You can.
Very, very, very small amounts. Almost to the point where it's not even drinking. It's just like, oh, there's salt water, and that's as
Let me
much
ask
as
you
can
something.
drink it.
Have you ever had a ramen noodles?
Yeah,
And you know the
but I'm at home.
and you know the sodium packet that you pour into that bitch, and then you like eat all the noodles up, and then you're like, oh, there's all the juice, and I'm gonna drink the juice.
But I'm at home.
Have you ever
dude.
drank that juice?
But I'm at home.
Because that's all nothing but sodium.
I've never just sat there and drank the juice
After
from the
you finished
fucking-
it?
Like,
After you
oh, ramen, but let me drink this.
No, after you finish eating the noodles, and there's like a little bit, like you know
Yeah,
when you
but I can't-
when you eat cereal and you finish
Okay.
all the cereal and there's still
What
milk
you're-
left in the
what you're,
mother.
what you're failing to
hell
understand
you
is
talking
that
about?
right after that, I could just go ahead and drink regular water, and I don't have the salt in my mouth anymore. You diluted.
I'm just saying, man.
Listen, I think what's going to happen if we both got stranded, we're going to just fight about these things, and we're going to die because nobody went to go get firewood. And
we would
nobody-
have better chance surviving if we
Alone?
were alone.
fucking Glenn Adams not here this time.
Yeah, imagine we got stuck twice the first time together, and somehow we like
Gilligan's
were-
Island?
Well, in Gilligan's Island, I think they have ended up staying because they preferred it.
No, they got off. In Gilligan's Island, spoiler alert, you fucking assholes. If you haven't watched it yet, it's not my fault. COVID
Was it the
pause.
60s or something?
Roll it. Anyway, in Gilligan's Island, they were there on the island for mad years.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got off. They came home. And then I think like a month later.
But there were people who were there who did not want to go back to their lives.
Well,
like
if your life sucked, I mean, you're on an island. It's kind of cool. They found a way to sustain. They lived there like they lived normally.
Yeah.
fucking scientists and shit. But so
But they had everybody they needed there to survive, I guess.
that they had Gilligan and the skipper too, and two bad bitches.
Millionaire.
Anyway,
Movie star.
well, I don't care about any of that. They had those two bad ass. Marianne,
Yeah.
woo,
Yeah.
she was bad for these days. Anyway,
True.
so they get back to the mainland,
Yeah.
right? I don't know where the mainland is. I don't know if they were in. They never said where like they were.
Yeah, it was off Hawaii.
That makes sense. So they were all Hawaiian?
No, but it was a tourist boat, so they took them on like a.
So
tour.
that's even worse.
Motherfucker says
They didn't-
a 3-hour tour.
So no. That's even
tour.
worse. That means they went on vacation to Hawaii,
Yes.
went on a charter, and then got stranded. So they were like doubly away from home.
Yeah.
Anyway, they get back.
That's why it's important to know the lyrics of the theme song because it really tells you everything you need to know.
The movie star.
No,
And
that's just
all
the
that
cast.
matters to me. 'Cause she's bad. Anyway, look.
No, the movie star is a dude and his wife.
No, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
The movie star is Ginger or Marianne.
No.
Talking about know the
would've-
song.
Listen, man. Just go ahead. Continue.
We could break this down. Anyway, so they get back, and I think within like a few weeks or something like that, which is really stupid, they decide to go on another charter together to commemorate being back home. And then, somehow, they ended up on the same fucking island, stranded again. And that's the end of Gilligan's Island.
They went back there for some reason on purpose.
No, not on purpose. They
on
went
purpose.
there, they took a charter, like, to
Not
celebrate.
the second time.
Yeah, not the first time. First time, obviously, they just accidentally
Yes.
got stranded
But
there.
the second time they went there willingly
This
for some
fucking
reason.
mic stand, I'm gonna beat its ass. Yeah, so Gilligan's Island's a different story.
Gilligan's
One,
Island
if you're
is-
Gilligan, you're fucking Marianne.
Well, I mean, you should be.
But like, Marianne, you know we're gonna be here for a while before we start stanking.
Like, we've talked about that before. Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying. But so I do think that it's possible to survive. You know, to wrap this whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just probably not with us together.
Yeah.
No, I
mean,
think in all joking aside, I think we could figure it out. I think we can get
I think we can at least survive like a week or two. You know what I mean? Like,
as
long as we find something to eat.
No. That's firstly, you have to source water. Eating is
Well,
important,
yes.
but water is the most important.
Yes.
So if you can't source water,
but
from
again,
somewhere,
you're talking about on a tropical island, coconut milk, same type of
yeah,
thing.
but you can't
know?
do too much coconut milk either because I think at some point it's just too much of like it's.
But I'm
Not,
just saying. I mean, they're gonna have the island's gonna have more than coconut if coconut is growing there. You know what I mean?
not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's weird. Honestly, from watching this shit, it just seems like things arbitrarily just grow randomly.
Well, let me tell you, depending on which island you land on, you might want to just keep going.
He was talking about he was on the Cook Islands or something, and like he was able to find food, but there were a lot of turtles. And he's like, lunch. And then he was talking about he's like, well, if worst comes to worst, I'll come back and eat you. He's like, killing a turtle takes a long time, and so later on he talked about in another episode he had to kill a turtle, and then he was like, when he paused it as the director's commentary, he's like, full disclosure, that was brutal. He was like, it wouldn't die. I was just in there stabbing into the thing. He's like, it was a terrible thing. He's like, I felt really bad. I was like, dude, die already, right? Because he was trying to grab the head and cut it off to end it.
Yeah.
But the turtle kept putting his head back in the fucking shell. So he's just stabbing in the shell, trying to murder the
Jesus.
Dude, it's pretty bad. It's pretty fucking bad.
Yeah.
And the other thing you got to think about is parasites. He said he got a parasite from eating that turtle. And it lasted a year, in his mouth. It's nasty.
Fucked up, yeah.
Fucking parasite living in your mouth from eating a turtle.
Yeah.
Turtle's soul went into that parasite. I'm
Did
not
he
leaving you.
boil the turtle? Something make turtle soup?
No, he grilled it with a fire.
Should boil it.
It probably would have been terrible.
You ever heard of turtle soup before?
Yeah, dude, you.
I have never tried it. I don't want to.
Of course, nobody fucking. I'm guaranteeing not many people have sitting here and just I've eaten turtle soup. Where you just sit there slurping the broth from a turtle?
It might be.
That's fucking nasty.
Hey man, listen, it happens with a lot of other things. Where you think chicken broth comes from? You know, like
chickens.
motherfucker.
Yeah, but
It's
people
not
eat
things
chickens
that
more
happen.
readily. You can grill them.
Yeah, but that's only because that's how we're accustomed to doing things. It
Yeah,
doesn't
but they don't
necessarily-
come with shells they can hide inside for infinite amount of time.
They literally have to deep
What if you
these
went?
whole things.
What if we can go into a turtle shell and it's like their room? It's all cool. It's got posters. Like
no wonder you spend so much time in there.
Yeah, it seems like a nice little cozy spot. They just go. All right, man. We got to go take a break. Never mind. That was pretty bad.
See what I'm saying?
You get one, I get one. Right? Never mind. All right, so
Same team, man. Same team.
yeah. same.
We're back from break.
We're here. It's us.
Yep. If in case you didn't know, we tell you eventually.
So I just came out of Adam's bathroom. I had taken a shit, and I went to go wash my hands, and he ain't had no soap. This is a nasty motherfucker. Don't got no soap in his bathroom.
No.
He gonna tell me I use my my shower gel.
No, what had happened was I just ran out and I was cleaning up in there before you got here today. So I was like throwing things in the garbage and whatever. And of course the empty soap thing, I was like, fuck this, it's garbage. So I threw it away and I didn't put a new one in there.
You have a new one, or it's just your soap?
Yeah, there's more. There's more downstairs.
Oh well, it's not upstairs.
Well, I didn't put it in there.
It leaves you in a precarious position, man. You gotta wash your hands after taking a shit.
I never really think about like when I'm gonna have company using my bathroom taking a dump.
I'm not company, motherfucker.
No, you're company. I mean, like,
I ain't company. I'm not normal company. I'm gonna take a shit in your bathroom.
Anybody who's not native to my bathroom is company. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but that don't count. They don't apply to me.
I feel like it applies to everybody.
No,
what's up, man?
Because most people ain't gonna go in your bathroom and take a shit. I'm gonna do it.
No, you're probably wrong.
Really?
Motherfuckers will take a shit.
Just randomly. Do you remember we had that at the apartment at Ludlam? So I don't know if we've ever discussed how the layout of the apartment at Ludlam
Probably
was.
a little bit.
So let's say you would walk in, right? This is the living room. There's a little walkway. Here's the kitchen, my bedroom, Adam's bedroom. Notice I didn't say where the bathroom was because, again, this is the living room. And there's a door right here.
They can't really see what you're doing with your hands.
Well, I'm okay. So
hold it like this.
Okay, so the bedroom's you walk in and this is the living room. You walk in this way, and then there's a walkway to the kitchen. Before you even get to that walkway, there's this little door here. We'll just say that's my thumb.
It's hilarious that you thought that they can see this.
And when you open that door up, which is my thumb, right into the bathroom. Now, you haven't even...
This is the church and this is the steeple. Open the door.
Here's the people.
Where are all the people?
No,
Remember
but
when Hillary did that?
So, yeah. So,
hilarious.
Unfortunately, the bathroom's door, and I guess the bathroom for all intents and purposes, was essentially in the living room. Mm-hmm. So, like, you could, like,
pretty
have
much,
girls over there, and they must have, like, hated it. Like, I used to... Because at that apartment, we had people over all the time. From the day I lived there, the day I moved in till probably right around the time you stopped, like, no, maybe a little later. So about 07 to maybe, 14, I'd say we had people there daily, every day, Yeah. And after I had gotten with Vivi, it was no women there. But there would be women there prior, right? Platonic or otherwise.
Right.
And it was just hilarious because... Even the guys would be like, "Well, there's girls here. I have to take a shit, and I can't."
And honestly, even if you were talking about just your guy friends,
you'd be watching TV and somebody be in the bathroom like.
I mean, listen. The one thing that was great about that bathroom was that it had a window in the shower. Right, it was a small bathroom. In the shower, There's a window that opens and it's screened off.
Ventilation.
And then at some point,
the screen fell off. And then the neighbor next door never gave it to us.
I'm pretty sure he took it and he was like,
I have a screen now.
He was a weird guy. Anyway.
You know what's funny about him? Is I found out later. So I was at my job now. I started there in 2016. Mm-hmm. I remember going to some sort of... we had to go to another office. There's multiple offices in the city. Mm-hmm. So we went to one. And we're sitting across from this guy, one of the guys that works for the district. He's talking to us, and I'm looking at him like, this motherfucker looks so goddamn familiar. Who the fuck?
So that guy works for the district?
I'm like, who the fuck is he? Like, who is he? That I like? He's talking to me, and I just stopped listening. Like, who is he? Why does he look so familiar? So I pull up to the house one day, and I'm like, the neighbor comes out, and I'm looking at him, and it hits me. This is fucking brother.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Like, super small world that his brother lives next door to me, and his brother works with me at the not technically works with me, but like
He's in
for the same company.
Yeah, you know what's hilarious? Every time we refer to that place as the district, it just sounds like ominous, right? Like you're a special unit
and shit.
like you're a special unit that like it's like the Men in Black.
Yeah, I would tell you what the whole title is, but no. So, but it's just like it's like a
The district is very shorthand for the entirely long. It's an extraordinarily long name.
Yeah, I mean, and districts in it.
Like
So
some cultures might understand, like you give pretty much your whole bloodline when your full actual name. Like you include every surname prior to you.
Yeah.
It might as well be that long. There's like 5,000 characters.
It's funny telling people where you work for. They're like, what? Slow down. It's too many words. A lot of syllables too. Anyway, yeah. So that neighbor, yeah. I don't know why he took that screen.
Yeah.
He could have easily. And he could have given it to Evo, right? Yeah. Evo was our landlord, and they were cool. Uh-huh. He didn't like me. I had gotten into beef with remember the next door neighbors, the other side of it, the fireman,
the one who got stacks off the roof.
Yeah, it was funny because I think he was cool, and his wife ended up being all right later on.
Yeah.
But I remember once Vivi during the snow, they must have cleared out their parking space, right? Because in Chicago it's dibs. If you're from Chicago or you've been around, you know people from here. Dibs is when it's snow outside and enough. Well, it used to be when there was a lot of snow and you cleared it out. You saved your parking space.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the point where people just save it through
I took this quarter of an inch dusting and it's mine now.
And then it'd be no snow on the ground and some people would just be like
no motherfucker. This is when you're talking about I had a 30-inch snowstorm happen.
And that's what it was when we were kids.
Yeah.
So it was one of those big snowstorms. They must have cleared their parking space out, and I think they dibsed it, right? And I respect dibs. I do. All right? Except when I don't know that you dibsed it, right? So what I think happened is they left. Somebody came and parked, right? But they didn't. They removed their whatever chairs or what have you that they put, and they parked there. And then they left, but they never replaced it. So then Vivi pulled up, and she parked there, right? So
open spot, great.
Yeah. So they left. So that night,
there's a time limit on dibs also. That's
what do you mean?
If it hasn't, if it finished snowing and now we're 3 days, 4 days that passed.
Only if the snow hasn't if the snow hasn't melted yet, if it's cold enough where it's just.
But at this point, plows have come down. There's been
in the parking space.
Well, I mean,
we're talking about parking spaces right now, right? In a situation where the snow isn't melting, it's still accumulating, or it's still just bad. Dibs away. I don't care. I park in the garage. Fuck all y'all. So,
fair.
But not at this point. I wasn't parking there. But I remember they left a note in the mailbox. Where you lived there at that point, remember? Because I came in, I was like, "What the fuck?" So I went into all right, motherfuckers, and I went in on them. They're we
get out the old quilt because I haven't done this in a minute.
Yeah, they basically said Vivi had stole their parking space. They had cleaned it out and covered it up, and they had left for a second, and she parked there, and I was like, you may be right about dibs, because they said something about dibs. I was like, listen, I respect dibs. Only if
dibs is an unwritten rule.
But I remember wording it. It was long. I was like, unfortunately for you, there was nothing in that parking space. I don't know.
Dibs isn't just
Dibs doesn't apply when I'm just there's a parking space. Well, they might have dibsed it.
If somebody who's not from the neighborhood parks there because they're coming to visit somebody, they're not going to be like, oh, they probably have dibs.
Yeah,
I ain't thinking about something about you.
I never heard anything back because I remember literally it took me 15 minutes. I wrote that motherfucker. I was like and I went downstairs, folded it up, put it in their mailbox, right? Because they put it in ours, but I think I put it on I took the backside of their sheet and I put it in there. I couldn't even be bothered to keep it to give them a new sheet. And I remember they were just they never said anything back. And I think they realized maybe that's what had happened, right? And again, listen, I understand. I would be pissed too. It's unfortunate that happened and how quick a fashion that somebody came, took it, left, didn't put it back.
But that's how it should be. It's in the city, man.
So I understand because it was his wife's parking space. I understand where. Now I cleared it up and they never brought it back to me. So I'm assuming that they were like, well, okay, fuck, fine.
Yeah.
But I was always I was a nice neighbor, man. He came in with some drywall once. I helped him put drywall through big ass 5x8s.
That is nice.
5/8, 8 feet long.
There's a lot of firefighters in the neighborhood. It was like a firefighter neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't know how it is, and I guess it might be that in other in other cities, like maybe New York. Probably you might get certain boroughs where they're like more blue collar, so it's like police, firemen, EMTs, and shit.
Yeah.
But in Chicago, there are certain areas that are considered cop land and or city worker land or what have you.
Which makes sense, you know?
Yeah, so
Put them together.
in this area, on one side, we had a fireman.
Yeah.
Across the street, we had a police officer. 2 doors down, we had another
He
fireman.
was like a state sheriff, right? Or something
No,
like
he was
that.
he was police.
Was he?
He was Chicago police. He was and then 2 doors down there was another fireman, right?
Yeah.
And then the dipshit between us, whose brother worked with us.
He worked for me.
He motherfucker worked for me. I think he retired already. Actually, to be honest with you, so now he don't work for nobody. So, but that neighborhood was interesting for sure. Like
It was.
It's funny because man, certain things have happened in that neighborhood. Like actually, when I first got my car, remember they hit my car.
Yeah.
So it was the weirdest situation. I remember parking, and there was I don't know if the car was behind. No, they weren't. So I was parking on the street at this time. I only parked my car out on the streets for 6 months. That's why I don't do it no more. I refuse.
Yeah.
So they must have parked and scratched my side bumper. And the next door neighbor said, he's like, I'm surprised you haven't snapped or anything about. I was like, what you talking about? We walked over to the car, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't see it before. And it was a silver fucking 200. That car parked there and didn't leave for like 5 days. I promise. I used to walk the dog, and I'd be
looking out the window like
no, and I would literally just be walking past it like, if this your fucking car right here, we gonna have beef, right? And they didn't leave. I remember
shouting.
I think I even left a note on the car.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yo, you might have not realized it, and then the note left, and then they didn't. Yo, I promise you, there were days I almost took a bat to the fucking car, like on some Street Fighter shit. Like I was so angry because these motherfuckers to this day, some of the paint got scratched off the bumper, like. And you get a new car. That's the thing about getting a new car. Like, you're like, oh my god, like it needs to be perfect. And then once you get that first one, as much as I hate them, they help me kind of like tone down my tense feeling about parking out on the streets.
At some point, I think honestly that just happens with time, anyways. Like I don't think you necessarily need a big.
Well, it helped it.
Event.
It definitely helped it.
Yeah, I don't know. Helped.
I mean, my anger, like, I would ask people, like, people around the neighborhood.
Hey, man, you see somebody do this?
No, I would ask, like, yo, you know
Wrong with
anybody?
you?
You know who owned that car? Like, do you own this car? Like,
is this my car?
And I remember telling them, I was like, they scratched my shit, and then they knew because my car was new at that point, like, it was brand new, so they knew my shit, right? And they were like, oh, they scratched that? They were like, oh, man, I'll be looking out for them.
Like, yeah, they scratched that.
You know how many people I think lied to me about not knowing who owned that fucking... But dude, the funny thing is that 200 still was around the neighborhood for like... And I knew where they scratched because I could see the blue off my paint on their fucking... I was mad.
You guys literally traded paint on that, huh?
So angry. They're lucky I didn't have my COVID angst.
My mama said alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
I didn't say it, but COVID does leave you with a little bit of angst and anger and anxiety a little bit, right? Like there was it's like a whole slew of emotions that won't go away, right?
Like I don't know how to feel. I'm just completely unsettled right now.
I was going out, like the first drive I took, I was actually on the phone with Adam, and I was like, I don't know, people were cutting me off, and on the phone with him, like, these motherfuckers, they just keep cutting me off. It's like old folks that would just like pop on in front of me in the side street and drive like 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Like, where are you going, dude? Why did you even leave your house? You're not even going anywhere. You're driving
like in this
so
neighborhood,
slow.
there's a lot of old people in this neighborhood, and they drive like jackasses, and I'm like, I don't care who you are in the car. I'm screaming at the car and the person who's inside of it who's making stupid moves without any prejudice. I don't care if you're old. I'm going to scream at you. I don't care if you're a chick, even a hot chick. I'm going to scream at you.
The words I will use to like berate somebody,
yeah.
they are not, there's no match for what I'll say in the car. Like, go fucking kill yourself. I don't even like to say that to people. Like, I think that's kind of fucked up. Like calling somebody ugly. Nobody's ugly. They're just not attractive, right? Like, it's just the way
to me,
right?
You know?
Like, it's ugly to me. But like, I hate like certain things. But like the cunt word, yo, I'll call people cunts all day. Like, you are a cunt. Yeah, I said it 3 times in a row.
Like, God help us if you have children, you son of a bitch.
Like, yo, I swear to God, I was like, your mother should have been swallowed. That's fucked up.
Not you, your mama should have been
that's
swallowed.
nix the whole you, right? Like, you're not even here, and neither is she.
There's not even a possibility of you because your
Right.
mama ain't even here.
Right. If you're coming out your dad's dick.
You going down the bloodline.
That's a question I have to ask, right? Like, all right. I know.
Do you?
Listen. So, are you going to be born regardless? Just depending on, it depends on what you're going to
No,
look
it depends
like or
which
be?
sperm. It depends which sperm makes it.
Right. But
So,
the
like-
sperm comes from your dad's dick.
Right.
Right? So, I'm saying, like, were you going to be born regardless? Were you going to, like,
The fuck does that mean?
so...
There's thousands of sperm racing at the same
Yeah,
time.
but you
me
made
and you
it,
came
so-
from his ball sack.
Right. So, were we going to
But we're not the same person.
Were we going to make it regardless?
No, I don't. Maybe I don't know.
Wait,
The survival of the fittest really happened there. Like, is it like as soon as I cross and break the tape, now the rest of y'all have
go
to
back.
pretty much just like
Back to the
now
beginning
you
of
just
the
die.
race. Now they got to go back to the beginning of the race. There's a movie called The Mating Habits of the Mating Habits of the Human Being or something like that, and it's a Carmen Electra and some other dude, and it's about the whole movie is about him trying to fuck, right? Like, but it's the relationship.
So many good movies like that.
It's the relationship, right? So it's the beginning where like he's wearing condoms, right? So the condoms are depicted in this scenario, right? So basically, when they're fucking, you see a whole bunch of guys with like sperm heads running down the street, right? And with the condom on, they run into a brick wall and they all fall and nobody makes it, right? Eventually, one like blasts through the wall or something. It's pretty funny. But what I'm getting at is like, so he was going to come you eventually, right? What? That's what they do. They come you.
That's the most hilarious, but also most ridiculous way I've ever heard that explained to me. But
what else does he do? He comes you.
Like in sex ed when you're in his high school. That's how they should explain
You
it.
just chuckle. So your dad's gonna come you out.
It's like, here's how it all starts, right?
Your dad.
Your dad comes you. Like, what the fuck?
What ejaculates?
No, I mean, I hear you.
Ejaculates is the worst word. Comes is funny.
It's synonymous.
Ejaculates is a little bit like graphic. Like, he ejaculated me. Whoa, dude, come on, calm down. But he came me.
Listen, I like to.
He came me. It came you. Somebody
Nah,
came him.
I always like to say I was the Immaculate Conception. You know,
Mom's a
my mom
virgin.
was a saint.
And there's a scene in The Office where they talk about like Michael spreading rumors to cover up the fact that he actually divulged real truths about Stanley cheating, right? So he made all these lies. He called Andy gay, and like the whole episode, he's like, Michael, am I gay? Right? Like
You made him confused about it.
Yeah, like, but he also said that Toby was a virgin, and he's like, how? Well, he's like, what are you guys talking about? How can I be a virgin? I have a kid. But like, it's just funny to me to think that. So, what I'm asking is, he was gonna come you regardless, right? He came, you came. Yeah, pretty much. So, what I'm saying is,
Pin drops and needle.
does it matter what mother? Right? Was I gonna be me? As big of a dickhead as I am?
Well,
like,
no, because to some degree,
was I gonna?
I mean-
Is a sperm either okay? Here's another question: a sperm is it designated a girl or a boy before it's come? Duh.
I have no clue about any of that. We need like a what was that one?
Because if that's the case, right? Survival of the fittest, strongest thrive, right?
There's that
I'm
one
not going
show.
to generalize, but men are generally stronger than women, right? So in the cum race,
So you're saying that
are there more
basically
boys born than girls?
So you're saying if it was already like men, if you already decided as a sperm what your gender was, that basically no women would ever make it to the egg.
Yeah, like does sex come after the inception of cum and vagina? So, all right. I guess my real question is: are you going to be?
We sound like we don't understand how penis and vagina works.
No, we know how it works. You get cummed, and then the cum goes somewhere else. Sometimes in a toilet, a napkin.
I guess there are some sometimes on a face.
I'm gonna touch a penis? No, not that, not that. So I guess this is a dumb question, but is it? I guess you need the woman host,
Yes, of course.
right? But
You can't come out of you can't get
the-
cummed as a whole child.
does the woman host decide, or does that decide whether you are gonna be
A
like
boy or a girl.
well anything really? Like, does the girl change who you become? Like,
I think so,
If Dad
yeah.
had met another woman at some point in life, and
Yeah,
came
yeah,
you,
because DNA, genetics, all that shit all plays into it. Like,
so you're not gonna be your personality.
If I was born to a different woman,
Yes. Are you
Yeah,
gonna
no.
be? Are you gonna be same?
I don't think I would be the same person.
You
No,
be a girl.
no, not that. I think just like I wouldn't have the same personality because I would also have, like, for instance,
But personality comes like pretty much based off like your
the nature nurture thing.
Yeah, I mean you see it, and so that's what you become. I'm no pun intended.
I don't know, man. Now you're getting too complicated because like if my upbringing also is going to be playing a part, who knows? Is this new woman going to have like what's her family like?
Are you gonna be an NBA player?
Is she going to be a nice woman? Is she going to be evil? Is it Cruella or is it whatever?
Well, who's the opposite?
I
of
don't
Cruella?
know. But Cruella
Poppins?
is somebody who's there
Mary
you go.
Poppins?
There you go.
But Mary Poppins seemed to have it.
Sherry Poppins.
Mary Poppins seemed to have it like pretty much down pat. Like she was like, I'll be a good nanny, but when it's time to say fuck these kids, I'm gonna hop on my umbrella and just pop the fuck out of here. Was she a witch?
It does seem that way.
I mean, it wasn't a broomstick between her legs, but she was carrying something that floated her away. Like, bye, children, you suck.
Can women be wizards or can they only be witches?
Are men wizards and women are witches?
That's what I think it is. At least that's how it is, like in Harry Potter world type of
There's
shit.
no man witch? We're not talking about
Not sloppy joes.
not sloppy joes.
Have some more sloppy joes.
So there's those. So
I
there's,
made them extra sloppy for you.
I've never heard of a woman wizard.
I don't know.
I've never seen.
Well,
her
I
wearing
mean,
a hat like Merlin.
the thing is,
The
these are
dunce
all
hat.
these are all made up characters. So I guess whoever decided this,
Well, okay, so like they had the Salem witch trials, right?
right?
Was
None of them were dudes.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Did they
Yeah,
all?
I
Did
think-
they kill all women only?
Maybe unless maybe you were like harboring a witch. I don't know if they like killed you for that. Oh, he was hiding this witch knowingly. She was a witch, and we were looking
The
for her.
wizard. I don't know.
The
That's
shit that we be talking about, man. All right, well, we gotta switch to just a quick serious moment that is affiliated with comedy. Gotta say goodbye to a legend in Gilbert Gottfried.
yes, sir. Rest in peace to him.
Rest in peace. That had to be, we have to acknowledge him because, of course,
It's funny because well, not funny. It's kind of eerie, I guess. Now that you think about it. But there's pictures of Louis Anderson, who I don't know if we also discussed his death.
yeah, I think we did.
Okay.
I believe we talked
and then
about it.
there's pictures of all three of them: Saget, Anderson, and Gottfried.
Yeah,
And I believe it's fairly recent.
yeah.
And
If there ain't no more death comes in threes
I told
type
you,
of shit.
I said it recently. I mean, we're a lot of legends.
Yeah,
A lot of legends
Yeah.
are leaving, and you kind of fought it, but at the same time, it's just because.
well, because I mean, the thing is, technically, that shouldn't be happening yet. Like 50, 60 years old is not old. We're supposed.
I think we get caught up in
Some of the
this-
legends from the prior generation are still here. You know what I
See,
mean?
I think we get caught up a lot in it shouldn't have it shouldn't happen. Yes,
I mean, like,
ideally,
historically, you know what I mean?
it wouldn't happen, but I think we get caught up in this like fairy tale of life sometimes.
For
right?
sure.
Like I
Like, no
don't
evil
believe
can happen.
life is not as fair as people depict it to be. Life is
Right.
a lot more unpredictable than folks choose to address.
For sure.
Because
Because ignorance is bliss, of course. I mean, you have a bad experience, something that hurts you. Sometimes it may be something that you can forget or put to the side, but like Sometimes it's those things that you just completely put to the side. You know what I mean? Like you forget that bad can happen until bad happens, type of shit.
And that's the real, and that's a tragedy itself. And that's the thing about life. It's so unpredictable. And like, as you get older, you're just
what COVID did is humbled everybody.
It did. And I guess I'm like in that post-COVID place where you're just like, anything can happen. You just gotta, you gotta just appreciate life, man, and
it's fragile.
And try to enjoy it, and tell your loved ones, that you love them, and remain, I don't know. It's just it's a difficult thing to kind of like discuss without like and
it's because there's so many other
the right words to do so.
There's so many other distractions in our world. Like you're talking about being a success at life and what it means to be successful in life, and you spend a lot of time trying to achieve whatever success is, and regardless what you do in life, it's all leading just to the same dusty path. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter what you do, how successful you are, you're gonna end in the same place.
Yep.
So you gotta always remember to still try to keep enjoying life at the same time as much as you can.
Yeah. Like you said, it's difficult because we all have our challenges. We all have our, our worries and things that we have to address. Sometimes it seems like unfairly prioritizing them. Mm-hmm. I last year's when I'd started to kind of like get that, like, fuck it, we got to travel. We got to go see things, Yeah. And just live and enjoy time. And, I am going to Mexico in a couple weeks, and, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm just trying to find that happy medium, Mm-hmm. We do a lot of creative things. And, me and Vivi were just having a discussion about, confidence and things of like when you were younger and how they may contribute to the person you become and the confidence that you hold. And, it's life's difficult, man. It's difficult to navigate, and it's hard to sometimes find the ability, the light through at the end of the tunnel, right? Like, I know we talk about it a lot, but this podcast is a good analogy for it, right? Like, mm-hmm. Sometimes you just gotta not worry about what the numbers, or worry about if anybody's watching. The point is to just enjoy the process as much as you possibly can. Mm-hmm.
Again, like I talk about this too. You spend so much time, and before I say this, I'm always appreciative of the fact that I have a job and what I'm able to pay my bills, live in a house,
right.
Have a car, all that.
Of course.
But you spend just so much time. I don't think you have
to say that for people to understand that. The idea that you just wish you could spend that time doing what you truly enjoy.
Or at least if I can spend more time dedicating things to passion projects. You know what I mean? Like, it's great that I'm able to 40 hours a week, whatever, it's a third of your day. Then you have the weekend, so it's arguably 25% of your week or some shit like that, right? But it's still like that's valuable daytime hours for me, and it's peak productivity hours, and that's why they are what they are.
That's
at work,
that's
right?
100% the truth, right? Like that's where my argument is. I'm like, if I could just spend the 8 hours I'm at work, really dedicating it to, whether it's something related to the podcast or our detailing that we've kind of like, that's one thing I want to like devote more time to, but it's hard because it's hard to find the time, the money, the ability to do so. And like sometimes I feel like slapping myself because I'm like, enough excuses. Mm-hmm. But some of the excuses are valid, right? Yeah. Like the job, spending as much time as you do at a place, or at your place for you,
in this place specifically, at this desk usually.
Like I do reels on Instagram. I haven't done them since I got sick, and I like that. It's a weird feeling I've been going through. Like I told Vivi, I was like, today I just feel like there's so much I need to do or want to do.
Creative energy that I need to release.
It's. Dude, 100. I told you last Sunday, remember, or Monday when I spoke to you. I was like, you fail to realize how much that really helps your mental well-being. Like, mm-hmm. This is a big portion of one of the things I think we both can agree that helps us, as an escape. Mm-hmm.
It's an outlet, but it also helps keep us engaged to some degree. Like we are more prone to keeping up with each other. We make it a point to see each other every week, and we just sit here and we talk and we whatever it is, but like it's just something that kind of it keeps us just active. You know what I mean?
It's something to look forward to.
Like without this, I have my job and then I have just whatever. I'm chilling, kicking with the dog, whatever. Like
you need something else. You need to feel like you're working towards something, right? And and not feel like, because feel like implies to me that you're giving me busy work. Like I'm giving myself busy work to forget that I'm not doing really anything.
Yeah.
For this, I feel like it's more of we are working towards something, and it's a goal like without a end date or light at the end of the tunnel per se. You get what I'm saying? But
the structure is what
it's
the structure
something
is.
that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Creatively, we both are very creative in our own way. That it's a nice outlet for it, and to make sure that you're doing something that you truly love and enjoy, that makes you feel like you're working. Not makes you feel, but that you know you're working towards something, an end goal.
Yeah,
that's outside of the fucking company you work for.
Want. You know, it's a project. It's something that you desire to put together, that you put the effort into, that you make sure it gets done. That all the exposure that you get is because of the work that you put in for it. Like
progress is important.
Yeah,
I can't speak for a woman, right? Because I don't know. Like instinctually, we have different men and women have different. Motivating factors, I believe, though they may be the same ideas. Like not that women don't want to have a podcast, because they do, but I know that there's other motivating factors, maybe emotionally differently than men would be.
They're not going to start the Seinfeld podcasts. They're going to talk about things.
Maybe as a man, we're looking for a more tangible validation. Maybe women more emotionally. And I if I'm speaking out of turn, I'm sorry, but.
You did say that you can't speak for them, you know. So.
But like for instance, like the reels, right? Like I've done a good amount now. My goal was to do 50 straight, and I tried it twice, and I couldn't get there because of just like I think I got sick. I did get just certain things kind of got in the way, and I hate the excuse. And I know,
although a reel of you being sick and then just kind of showing you different cuts of you laying down watching TV might be funny.
It would have been funny. It's too late now. But and you're right. But beyond that, like from the first one to I think I have maybe 65, maybe 60.
Yeah, you've gone hard on that. You know?
I've done a good amount.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it's the idea that you watch yourself progressively, and it may not be a very quick jump, but you watch yourself become better at it, better at editing, better at picking the story or depicting the story.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like some people who watch us on here are friends of ours on Instagram, so they've seen at least a few have seen these reels occur, and and a lot of people have said that they actually enjoy them and they think they're nice, and that's cool. That's nice validation, but the thing about those reels are there's so many people creating them that the chances of you actually catching on and gaining subscribers and likes and all that is very, very difficult, very hard.
It is.
It's an uphill battle.
But it's also impossible when you don't have those things out there.
All you got to I'm learning in life, man. Just do.
Here's the thing, man.
You just have to try. You have to do. Like we've discussed it with the podcast. Because we discussed the podcast for about a year before we decided to get into it.
Yeah.
And circumstances occurred to where, Adam said, fuck it, let's do it. And we jumped on it. But we could have waited another year, another 2 years. We could have just started. This could be our first episode today. Right? And we'd be episode 1, not episode 133.
Right.
Which the numbers aren't the whole story, but they tell a good portion of it. We've consistently done 133 episodes.
Shit like last week happens where we can't record, because for whatever reason.
COVID's been the main reason we haven't recorded at all. Like that, the year where we weren't able to do it.
For
other
this
breaks.
year, and
COVID's been the reason why any break has occurred within the podcast.
Except for early on, like because we started in 2018.
There were some weather issues, but that's also
before.
to be expected, right? Sometimes you can't travel. And it sucks, but you got to be smart about things. The
point is, shit happens sometimes where we can't get together and record, but we've made it a point to get together when we have the availability to record.
Exactly. And we want to remain. I could have easily said, Adam, you know what? Another day,
Yeah.
You know, I feel fine. I'm no longer contagious based on CDC guidelines. It's been now 12 days, and that's 7 days away from where they say you're contagious at all.
Yeah.
So but I could have been like, you know what, I'm going to take another day.
Yeah.
I feel like just sleeping a little bit, and I'm lower on energy, but I'm not where I was at. You know, I'm just trying to get back to where I need to be.
Right.
But we could have recorded next week, but the problem is then there's a week after that we're not going to record.
Yeah.
So what happens is, you know, you start to get these lulls, and it breaks down your momentum, and it makes you feel.
They add up for sure.
You get mad when you're not doing it, right? You're just like, fuck, we could have been doing the podcast.
Like, man, there's something like, what can I?
Something's missing in this day.
You know.
And all I can say is to those listening, and we're not speaking from a large platform. We're not speaking from the most highly successful podcast or creatives you've ever met in your life. We're speaking from the perspective of aspiring, you know, cultural content impact that we're looking to have at some point, hopefully.
Right.
What I'm saying is, if you have something that you want to do outside of work, outside of family, creatively, or even not creative, maybe it's a business that you want to start that you've been putting off. Tomorrow's not promised at all. Today's the only thing you have. And if you have
insert cliche here,
unfortunately, they all sound like cliches. Everything you say say that you should do something,
but
today,
they're all true. They come from somewhere, you know.
There's a reason they're cliche.
But, so this is type of like thing that I've been actually thinking about. I'm like, all right, the generation before us, right, our parents, they taught us maybe the way that as much as they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, sometimes the next generation tries to move it as far from the tree as possible.
Hopefully it rolls a little bit downhill.
So like the generation, the early 1900s, they probably were like the Industrial Revolution time, right? Everybody starts building shit up. Businesses start going up like crazy. Harlem Renaissance, all of those type of things. Everything up to like the 1920s, 30s, some shit like that, right?
It was like 50s or something.
Whatever. They're building a bunch of businesses up. And then Great Depression happens in the 40s, and everybody starts losing.
Depression started in 1928 or 29. It ended at like 34.
Well, clearly, I'm off. But anyway, the point is that the Great Depression happened, and like all these people started losing money, and it was people who mostly did it like maybe a lot of frivolous shit with their money, and they were, you know. So then that next generation started ushering in this whole go to school, go work for a company that's secure, has benefits.
You're only a product of the circumstances in which the time you live in.
Well, what I'm saying is they started getting safe, right? Because like the reason why a lot of the companies that are around today happen is because people think like our generation does. Like they were entrepreneurial, they were pioneering, they were trying to go and start something that doesn't exist already. They didn't want to live a life where they had to work hard or to have their kids work as hard.
So it's funny you're bringing that up, because that book I read, Outlier, right, is about that. It's about specific times that, like, you could be a lawyer and I could be a lawyer, but there are specific times throughout the 1900s specifically, let's say, that if you were born, like, let's say you were born in the 30s, by the 60s and 70s, there's times where being that lawyer that you were going to become is advantageous. There's like culturally, there's things that are in place that allow you to become more successful because of what's going on. Yeah. And I, as a lawyer, maybe 10 years later or before, am not as prone to being successful because the stars haven't aligned properly. Yeah. I'm gonna let you read that book. If you haven't read it, it's called Outlier. It's super nuts in terms of like, it talks about like hockey players in Canada, right? And if you were like a 14-year-old, right, and your birthday fell late in the year, or if you're a 14-year-old and you started and your birthday fell earlier in that year, you play in the same league. That's the thing, right? Because you're both 14-year-olds, but one's a year older than the other, and it's a pretty important time in life, right? Developmentally, those 14-year-olds are gonna stand out more because they are born within a specific time, their skill set and their height and their power and their strength may look a little bit more than the one who just turned 14, who was basically 13 years old, right? And they talk about that.
That's cool, but
circumstances and times you're born
slightly independent from my point.
I mean, it is, but you just kind of brought it up.
My thing is literally and that's why I went back to the Great Depression, right? Because after that, the future generations were like, all right, we need to make sure that we don't trust banks all of a sudden. We don't
want to do that.
We don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to go and be. We want security here right now.
Again,
so now we're going to work for something.
Of the times.
So now, So now we're going to work for something. Like the generations are taught differently now because of like, hey,
we experienced
our
something.
Parents are
we
teaching
experienced
us
something different that we had never experienced before. So we need to learn from it. And
every generation before ours looked at like the creative process as something it's extracurricular. It's maybe
never
something that
do
you
anything
can.
for you.
Yeah, you're never going to get anywhere with it. Make sure you have look
at artists back in the day. People just poo-pooed on them.
Yeah.
And
the ones who usually went against the grain of what their parents were telling them early on, they were like, those are people who became successful at it because they were the outliers.
I'm gonna say it right now, and I may get some flack for it, but mom and dad don't always know best.
No,
and it's only because they only know what they know.
Exactly.
Right. So I thought that I was gonna be in the NBA. I was young, obviously, but as
everybody had hoop dreams.
Not everybody, but you had a dream.
You have your equivalent of
your
a hoop
dream, right?
Right.
And I just remembered, like, that was my shit. Like, hooping was what I loved, and to this day I love it. I hate it. Hurts that I don't play as much, but I know if I played as much, it would hurt. You get what I'm saying?
Valid.
But sometimes they want to help you not get disappointed, but in doing that, they hurt maybe the confidence it requires to not maybe become the NBA player, but anything else that you want to put your mind to.
Well, Rob Schneider said in Big Daddy is like the perfect thing.
Not my fault. Your father's sick.
He has to learn how to lose too. You have to learn how to take L's in life, man. Like, because you're gonna get more of those than you're gonna get dubs. It's just
but you got to learn them by trial by fire.
Yeah,
not by otherwise. Well, hopefully not by in a illegal criminal manner.
But. Yeah. But like somebody telling you, "Oh, don't do this. You're gonna fail." That's not something that a lot of people will become afraid of that, right? Like, oh, the people who I look up to, who I learned everything from, are now telling me that I don't have what it takes to do this, and a lot of people shy away from it, right? Yeah. And that's kind of where our generation is different, and they've been like, well,
unfortunately, I'm going to say this: it's not really our generation. It's the generation.
It's like
after.
It's on the cusp of both, because
you would hope so, but we're not. We don't. For instance, like at Lane, right? Lane. And I think this is actually a perfect example, because at Lane Tech it was Lane Technical High School when I went there, right? And technical was in the regards to wood shop, metal shop, machine shop,
blue collar work.
Yeah, like technical work back then.
Yeah.
And when I went there, that's what I did. I took wood shop for like 2.5 years. I got shit that you've seen it. I mean, I may have discussed it here. I have actual wood pieces that I created when I was in high school that are still lingering around mom's house. You know what I mean? And they're still around.
Good ass wood, man. That shit was treated well.
I mean, it just was. I mean, and we learned things like cutting wood and then gluing it back together with wood glue to make. I made a cutting board. Mom, I think, threw it away at some point, but it was like
rude as hell.
But it was like a bit. I think it eventually cracked, like, because I mean you're using it, but it was like this big. I remember we cut and we made like slabs of wood. We fucking glued them together, and then it was my task to cut at the bandsaw I just say that to say they used to teach these things in the school, right? I took metal shop. I still have this heavy metal screwdriver that we did knurling on it. We bored out the middle. We fucking made bits. Those go in there. There's a cap, and then there's like a star bit that you could pop it into, and like. It's insane to think that they did that as high schoolers, right?
Well, I mean, I took a machine shop class. We used CNC machines, and
see, we didn't have the CNC. So you were a little bit further down, but still within the same vein, right? I mean, I'm talking about like fucking 14-year-olds playing with bandsaws. Like, if this is the bandsaw, my fingers are...
You got to have a lot of patience as a teacher for that because, like...
No, you just gotta be... You don't have to be patient. You have to be negligent.
Well, like, think about it, right? As a father, when you're trying to teach your kid, like, how to drive, for instance, you got to have, like, a patient demeanor. Otherwise, you're going to, like, freak your kid out. He's going to be a terrible fucking driver.
Yeah.
So, like, it's the same thing in a shop class like that because now you're, like, trusting them to use things that can hurt them, right? Or they can fuck them up, and you need them still.
The only injury I ever heard about, right, in my whole high school career there, was one of the teachers, Mr. O'Donnell, this Irishman, drunk motherfucker, man. But he was hilarious because he was my first woodshop teacher, right? And he was an Irishman. You could tell he was drunk, but later, and one summer, he didn't come back because I think he was pushing something through the bandsaw, and I think it cut like this in his hand, right? And I hate to think about it, but he may not be around anymore, just based off of like how careless he seemed to be.
And I don't mean to say Jesus because it's Easter, but
Jesus. But I'm saying that to say like they trusted you to do that, but times evolved.
Yeah,
Lane is no longer Lane Technical High School.
they're Lane College Prep now.
It is Lane Tech College Prep. Or Lane Tech Prep, or Lane Tech College Prep, whatever.
So they kept the tech in there?
Yeah. Because...
So it's still technical.
But it's not... But technical in a sense of where we're at now. Like, it's technical college prep, right? So, but what they started doing, Lane, from what I understand, has, like, studio setups. Like, digital studio setups, musical setups. Like, it's changed. Mm-hmm. It's still...
So it's more of a creative arts type of...
Because at Lane, there was either arts or tech.
Yeah.
So you would be you would either follow those curriculums. I chose tech. I went through all those other hands-on things. Art, you would be in only art classes during those times. You would fill those slots with art classes and never intermingle. It would never intermingle.
Interesting.
So
I took both in my school.
I don't think I took one art class.
I took art almost every year of my life. I
don't think I took one art actually the whole time at Lane Tech.
Interesting. So,
like, again, I followed that curriculum. But then I think now, this fucking stupid microphone, it changed. It went to more digital tech, right? Okay. Which, again, is a product of the times. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's ours. You got to wait. You got to go another 5, 6, 7 years after to find the kids who are only benefiting. These are the kids I'm talking about that grew up with a cell phone and know nothing about anything prior to not having a cell phone in their hand.
So that's really like the end of my high school. Like 2008, I graduated.
Probably maybe even a year or two after that.
Yeah.
There's Joe had a chick on the podcast. Oh, man, I cannot remember. She's a Southern rapper, but she's talking about you gotta know, Joe, that or understand that we don't know anything other than this. Like, we know social media, so that's what we do. Like, if we have something on our mind, we go to social media, post it, because that's what we think is what you do.
But that's how we started social media. We all did that. You know what I mean? Like, but you post a stupid thought, a song lyric that you had in your head.
Yeah,
like,
but that's what we did. Remember navigating, like, MySpace? Okay, so there was, it went from, like, there was like Friendster and Zanga, which was like a blog posting website, and there's MySpace and all sorts of things. But it was surface. It wasn't really even Facebook. Actually, when it first came out, was only for kids with college.
MySpace
emails.
Was hanging on because people like, you can customize your page, put the shit on your wall, have a best friends list type of shit. Like,
and that's what it was like. But we were learning to navigate it. It wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's crazy. Social media is where you go to find news, to find breaking stories, to fucking.
Well, to get real, I mean, that's where actually it's been beneficial in some way. As long as you're not,
I disagree a little bit.
Obviously, like,
because think about it when they broke Kobe Bryant's death.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's what I'm saying is the
rest in peace, Kobe.
If you know, rest in peace for sure. If you know where to look on the internet, you can get more of an accurate news coverage than.
That was you?
I don't know. Yeah. But you can get more accurate news coverage than if you just turn on channel 7 on your TV. You hit a local channel.
I don't know if that's true. The problem with the internet is the same thing that's problem with Wikipedia. Anybody can add to it.
It's true, but again, I mean, you have reputable sources, and that's why they started the verified thing, and like there's ways You know what I mean?
I don't even know how we got here, but it's true. It's
Yeah.
it's we're just talking about following your goals.
Yeah.
And long story short, because we're getting pretty late into the podcast. Is later than we usually. I didn't think we were gonna get this far today.
Yeah. Follow your dreams,
Follow
man.
your dreams. Right? Like, listen, you're watching a podcast that only another 271 other people other than yourself are subscribed to.
That makes you unique.
It makes you unique. It makes you understand, like, and I gotta say, I appreciate it because it's not us having such a small following and having people still subscribe mean that people are willing to take a chance on somebody or two guys or three when Dave's here, technically, that don't have a big following, haven't really made their mark in anything just yet, but you're willing to give us a shot. And too many times other than not, right? If that makes sense.
Sure.
Too often than not.
More often than not.
More often than not, but too often.
Yeah.
It seems like I'd like to reiterate that.
Right.
It seems like that's not the case. It seems like,
I try to chalk it up to this. A lot of things aren't appreciated in their time, but they come back to be classics as people discover their existence. You know what I mean? Like, there's movies that we love to this day that the average person might be like, "What the fuck is you talking? What is that movie?" You know what I mean? But like to us, we found it early. We have a connection to it from our
I
childhood.
told one of my coworkers he had never heard of Dirty Work. I was like, dude, you got to, and he's like one of those people that would watch it and enjoy it. I was like, Tim, you got to fucking watch Dirty Work. You're going to love it. And he came back. He's like, holy shit, how did I never see that movie?
Yeah.
It's interesting. And I hope that people, when they come across our podcast, feel the same way. Like, how did I not know these guys existed? Right? Like,
Yeah.
I hope we provide some sort of entertainment. And when we have conversations like these, a little thought provoking.
I feel like, how the hell do I drive the point home? Just watch the whole episode,
Please.
We do talk random nonsense, of course, because we're brothers. We're gonna talk stupid shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk shit to each other. We're gonna when Dave's here. Dave's also been.
We were
since
on,
we were fucking.
Remember the group chat we just I was on the family chat, and Mom's like, "What the hell is going?" Mom's like, me and Adam are talking mad shit to each other, like I'm talking.
It wasn't even that much.
It wasn't but it's still outside looking in. It's like, what if you don't know?
And she should know.
Yeah, she should know, right? She's like, "Are you guys okay?" Like, I was like, "I think you're failing to." You said, "I think you're failing to understand." And I was like, "This is me and Adam's love language. Like, we don't know any other way to communicate but to be like." Tongue in cheek, essentially, and that's just the way it works.
Yeah.
So I hope that you enjoy that about this podcast.
And again, that's a product of what the era we were raised in. Like, people talked shit, but it wasn't like with malice until it was, and you knew when it was. I mean, like you
even
were
when I
just
watch
fucking around.
Les Stroud talking, right? Like, because he'll say like, like in the actual early shows, he may say something and like. It's so long ago because he shot some of these in 2002, right? I was still in high school for another year.
Right.
Some of that, life changed drastically later on. But if you were around back then, it was a better time, man. It just was. Maybe it was a little offensive, but nobody took offense.
Right.
Once the floodgates open for everybody to feel their feelings, like sometimes, dude, your feelings aren't valid. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Sometimes your feelings are just bullshit because you're just looking for something to be mad
Dude,
at.
anything can affect your feelings.
Anything.
That's why I say that it's bullshit, because like
It's just people look for things to be offended from, and
That's what it
and
seems
sometimes
like.
it's not valid enough to fucking like. I tell Vivi all the time. Sometimes like. Earlier on, especially in our relationship, like sometimes like she's Puerto Rican, she can't help herself. She likes to like if she's gonna argue, she's gonna argue.
And to be fair, Arabs are the same way.
I tell her all the time. I'm like, who you got? I'm fucking Arab and Italian. I got hot blood. We don't fight, right? Like that's just the way it is. That's the reality of it. But I tell her a lot that you got to pick and choose your battles because regardless of what you want to get out, you're gonna sometimes those understanding that sometimes you don't have to like sometimes not voicing it or like letting it out or even letting it affect you is gonna make for a better
It's funny because
mental being than
who was the one who just one of the football players was just on a podcast talking about Cam Newton, right? And he was talking about women don't know.
Oh yeah, they hate him for that. That's another thing. Listen, sometimes when you say "in my opinion," right? that is a disclaimer that this is not how everybody feels. This is not how you have to feel.
Yeah.
This is how I feel based on my experiences.
Yes.
And too many times there's people out there that are like, oh, you see what he said? Like he said in his opinion, in his experience.
I promise you,
it's not in your household, motherfucker. It's his. Stop being so I hate people's hypersensitivity to things nowadays. Bro.
Men get the most mixed signals from the world about how to.
Oh, I tell
how to act
Vivi
as a
so
person.
many. Dude, literally, we get shamed about our dicks from the day we're born. Women are not that way. We're told, hey, what are you doing with
Like,
that?
even that aside,
I'm
though.
adjusting it. It's between my legs. I got a ball sack that sticks to one leg or the other, or twice, sometimes both, and I have to pull that away. You ever peeled like something out of a piece of candy, like a Jolly Rancher out of a wrapper, right? And it's hot, you just gotta peel it off.
You ever try to take a wrapper off an airhead, regardless of what temperature it is?
Yeah, that's my dick and my ball sack to my thigh in the summertime.
Yeah.
You don't like me rearranging my dick? Sorry, I see you do this with your fucking bra all the time, and nobody gets mad. So all I'm saying is,
I know you got titty sweat. I see you get in there and be like,
yeah,
ugh.
leave my dick alone, man. Sometimes it's not. We're more often than not, we're not playing with ourselves. Okay, way more.
Some motherfuckers are nasty.
Way
so
more,
you might catch them.
way more often than not. We're not playing with ourselves, okay? I don't know why we like to hold our ball sacks and our dicks and just reiterate
There's something
things.
comforting about grabbing your balls.
Man, it's warm down there. When I'm sick, like all week, man, my hands were under my ball sack, just like
if it's 7 degrees outside and I gotta be out there and I'm waiting for the bus, I might have my hands grabbing my balls. You know?
There's a reason why, like football players, they do that. They put their hand in their pants because it's warm down there.
Yeah.
Stop shaming us, fuckers.
But aside from that,
What kind of sneakers you got on?
yeah, we got
Yeah, I think we gotta
hours
go,
in here.
man. So
All right, yeah, I got
y'all gonna get a long one. This one.
I
That's
got
what she said.
these 11s on, the little low top joints that I picked up last year. One of the only few that I was actually able to get. So
Pump
whoa,
up the jam.
you know?
Pump it up while the beat is
the roof
pumping.
is on fire.
All right. I have these here mids. They are a
It's a baseball.
yeah. It's a old. I think it's either Yankees or Sox. I can't remember. But
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it's commemorative to something. Old school baseball shit. You can see in the toe box. There's stitching like that looks like a baseball stitching. I've had these honestly since 2006. I remember specifically when I bought them.
Damn.
I remember the shoes I bought them with. Those haven't been around for at least 10 years.
It's pretty wild, man.
You know what I mean?
A 16-year-old pair of shoes.
I have a lot of shoes that are pretty fucking like my my black metallic 5s are from the 05, 06 release probably. I don't know when these were released. I went to Tony Sports back when it was Tony Sports. Actually, you know what? It may not been. It may have been the Warehouse after that because they did the Tony Sports, the Warehouse, and then now
There was an article that I saved for reading later on to say what happened to the old Kmart locations throughout the city.
Ventures but anyway, these were I was looking for. They had buy one get one half.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find the half. I promise. I'm looking for them. I couldn't figure it out. And I look up and they had these on display at the top. Like they weren't even like people were going to buy them. Like they were like literally probably 15 feet on the top shelf.
Yeah.
And I was like, what about those up there? What size are they? And he went and grabbed the thing. It's like size 12. I think I got these for no lie, probably like $95.
That's
you
low.
know? But this again, a long time ago.
Right.
But yeah, like the metallic 5s. I got shoes that are pretty fucking old. And I've thought about it from time to time, like, oh man, I'm gonna put my foot in the shoe one of these days, and then they're gonna be cracking up. And
Just gonna like fall into dust. as you
yeah,
put your
it
shit in.
sucks, you know. But that's part of the sneaker game. So wear your sneakers, wear your fucking sneakers.
Or store them in plastic bins.
Yeah, but wear them too.
Yeah, that too. But like also store them in plastic bins.
I've told you, like, from what I've learned is that when you first get them, you do want to wear them.
Yeah.
Because the glue needs to be pliable. And what happens is over time, if you haven't worn them, and let's say you bought them, it's been a couple years or whatever, that glue doesn't have its chance to flex and give itself some pliability and move with the shoe. So when it's stiff and you start walking in it, that's when you start getting the cracks and the seams start to break and things like that. Makes sense. Wear your shoes. Why the fuck you sitting on them anyway?
Quick shoe tutorial.
Like we just discussed, you don't have tomorrow always promised. So rock them today.
You might not get tomorrow. Do it tonight.
Hey, I'm going to go get this chicken sandwich from Buena Beef, bro.
That's such a weird statement.
I know, but it's good.
Like, there's so many good chicken sandwiches everywhere, and then you're gonna go to the beef spot.
Well, I like Popeyes, right? Popeyes is dope. The Chick-fil-A's got a decent chicken
Okay, so
sandwich.
where do you rank it in the chicken sandwich game? The Buena Beef
Give
ones?
me the places I'm ranking against.
All right, so you got the KFC. They got into the game a little bit later than everybody else. Popeyes.
Okay.
McDonald's got into the game. They actually have a pretty fucking good ass chicken sandwich.
If we're talking about chicken sandwich, I just love the McChicken.
And Chick-fil-A, obviously.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, this is like the deluxe
Like
classic
specific,
chicken. You know what I mean? Like,
what everybody's
yeah,
making now.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say Popeyes is my favorite, but that can change if depending on the Popeyes that you go to, because some Popeyes fuck things up.
It's true.
I often leave a fast food place hating teenagers.
It's true.
Like they're
They're
worst.
all terrible, yeah.
Teenagers should never get a job or a car.
And I don't know if like you've dealt with today's teen who works at a fucking restaurant, but they are dumb. Like, there's no talking to them.
They are dum-dums.
They're at least socially dumb.
Big fucking dummies.
Like, they don't know how to interact with people.
Not only that, they just work stupid and
Which is
slow.
funny
And
because video
I'm
games...
trying not to use the word I like to use.
They have headsets on with microphones, which is what they should be used to from like playing video games and shit, right? Because it's their generation.
I'd be one of the choking
They
with
should
that
feel at
microphone
home
wire.
with that.
Like, you motherfucker, just... Anyway, so Popeyes, probably.
Okay.
And then, honestly... But it depends on my mood, right? Like, if I've had Popeyes chicken sandwich multiple times, like, all right. So, listen, the Buena
On an
Beef...
average day of chicken sandwich enjoyment.
I'll say it's probably going to be Popeyes, right? And then Chick-fil-A's pretty good, but sometimes Chick-fil-A's a little lackluster. This Buena Beef sandwich, though, pretty fire, man.
So that is...
I'll say it's
number
like... I'll
two,
say
three?
it's after a Popeye sandwich. But obviously, if I have a craving for it, I'll go get that first. But these new chicken sandwich fads are pretty funny.
But why is
it so good?
Why do they do chicken sandwiches?
I don't know. The first time I went to Buena Beef was like literally only a year and
Like,
a half ago.
if you didn't have the word beef in the name of the restaurant,
I get it.
by all means, if it was just Buena,
You're not talking to anybody who didn't think the same thing. I went. I'm telling you, the first time I went to Buena was probably like a year and a half ago.
and is that how you pronounce it? Is it Buena?
Yeah, it's Buena Beef. What did you think it was? Pronounce it without it.
Buona?
Bona beef?
Buona?
Bona beef. I'm a bona beef right now. No. All right. Listen, we got to get the fuck out of here. This is getting off the cuff.
Well, hey guys, thank you for checking out episode 133. If indeed you did check out 133,
About to get this long one from you.
Yeah.
Kang ding-a-lang.
If you made it to the end here and you still have not hit subscribe, fuck wrong with you? Hit subscribe, and we appreciate it if you do.
Right. Where can they find you?
You can catch me in a parking lot.
Hollering at bitches, parking lot pimping.
Nah, I mean, I'm not on my socials as much as I should be. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, yo, can you guys do me a favor? Comment and tell Adam to get his ass on the IG for the Kiona and Kasson. It doesn't. He don't have to get on his normal one. Nobody gives a fuck about that one. I'm talking about the Kiona and Kasson one, dude.
I get some pictures and whatnot.
Take some of my reels that I got.
You know.
Post them back up.
All right. All right.
But where can they find you?
Yeah. I'm on Instagram at Kawash KKP. You know, KKP is for here. And then Twitter. We have a page. It's not as
Don't tell them about things you don't operate. So just
no. But you say you're gonna come to my house. This is the only thing I really operate. Catch me on the socials. Catch him on the socials.
_Kawash KKP. At IG, and then
one day in life I'll learn how to put them right underneath our faces.
Yeah. One day when we get better editing and
editing
capabilities and things. You know. But that being said, we appreciate you for stopping by anyway.
Yup, and even though Dave ain't here for him, myself, my brother, and the dog who's been passed out against the shoe stack all episode, we will catch y'all on 134.
Peace.
Peace.